The corpses of buried human podcasters are returning to life and feeding on your listening ears. You must destroy that like button and smash those 5-star review brains in. Today we're taking a trip to George A. Romero's Land of the Dead, baby. I'm Seb, and with me is Stephen Bex.
Whoa, that caught me off guard. That was good.
This is the We Know Kino podcast where we talk movies. And today, as I just said, we're covering Land of the Dead. How's it going, guys?
Be
How you doing?
The most actually official intro we've ever done.
That's yeah.
Are we professional now?
I think we are. Episode number 10. We're into double digits now.
We went from dodo noises last week to this week.
What a difference a week
if
makes.
I stop giggling through it, but it's the first time doing something like that, and I was like, God, this is embarrassing.
That was actually
good. That's good.
That's a good idea for each of our episodes each week. Like we have a little custom intro like that. That's really good.
We're learning as we go, guys. We're learning as we go. We try things out, throw things on the wall, see what sticks.
Good luck,
Land of the Dead
next week.
Land of the Dead.
Here we are. It was bound to happen.
I wanted to do something in like the vein of, you know how every lots of zombie movies start with the news playing and it's like destroy the head and remove the brain, the other way around, but you know what I mean. I wanted to kind of get that feeling to it. Guys, we have now covered a lot of George A. Romero zombie movies. This is the fourth one.
This is the fourth one, yeah.
We've been doing them in order.
We have.
It's been really exciting. Shall we talk about our histories with this film? Because we've already given our histories with the previous movies.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first? Shall I go first?
Yeah, it's your pick.
It's my pick. All right. Well, I watched this film way back. I think I remember being excited because I think this is going to be the first George A. Romero film I saw of his that wasn't a remake, and so far it's not been remade compared to like the other ones. So that was cool. I mean, I'd seen his original work, but this was going to be a film that I hadn't seen the remake before watching the original work, if you get what I mean there. I remember being very disappointed in it and just thinking there was lots of dumb, silly things that I didn't really appreciate. And watching it for the podcast, I think I have a larger appreciation for this movie now than I did. And when we first started the podcast, we spoke about which our favorite George A. Romero movies was, and this was very low down on the list for me, and this is very high up on the list for Steve. And since episode 1, I have been so excited to get to this. That kind of, I didn't think that I would go through all these zombie movies as my choices, but when Steve said that Land was his favorite, I was like, oh, we need an education here. We need, that sparked something in me. And I was like, we gotta go through these. It's pretty. I really enjoyed it, guys. I really enjoyed it, and I'm wondering how you guys are going to take it. So, who wants to go second with their history?
Hey, Steve, tell them about your change of opinion. You can go second.
I'll go second because me and you, Seb, have seen this movie prior. Where for you, Beckham, it was a first full proper watch. I don't know what I was thinking when I said this was my favorite one ever. I think I've been educated now with the movies that came before, Dawn, Day, and Night. It wasn't a good start when I went. Well, immediately within 10 minutes of this movie, I had said, "Oh no," at least 5 times.
Oh no!
Yeah, and I was just like, it was not a good sign. Like I know last week I was like, right, I'm probably gonna fully end up just tearing apart. I won't be that as extreme this time round, but it's definitely not aged well in my mind, and especially with the zombie movies I've watched recently for the podcast. But yeah, my experience was, I think not long after it released back in 2005, I think I managed to catch it on cable around 2008, long before we had like satellite television. So some of the limited channels I would have, like Irish television, Beckham could attest to this. But we had like 4 or 5 channels, and I remember just catching a late night screen, like a late night showing of this one random weekend many years ago, and I was just like, "This is cool." I was like, "This concept is cool. The acting is amazing." The characters are badass. I was like, what? Like zombies that can communicate and use weapons. I was like, this is perfect. I mean, I was like, this is peak zombie, and here I sit, like I can't even do the maths. I'm so upset. Like let's say 17 years later, and I'm like, I was naive and I was silly. But yeah, it was one I've always enjoyed because I really pushed the concept harder and I gave it too much credit. But yeah, I watched it not long after it came out those many years ago, and this viewing has been it's been interesting.
What have I done? What have I done?
What have I done? I'm the reason. I said it in the first ever episode we did. Go back and watch it, by the way. Night Living the End, a cracker episode. Our very first. I was like, yeah, no. I was like, Land is great. Land is my number one. Oh my god, it's smart. Here we are 9 episodes later, and
I have flipped and you have flipped in complete different directions, and now we've got Bex who's never seen it before. Bex, what was your opinion? What's your
please don't
basically my little history is I knew very little about this going into it.
Yeah.
I remember looking up and knowing about the original trilogy and having a good idea of what they were, but only haven't seen the first 2 and not seeing the third. Going into this, I'm not going to lie, I had very, very low standards because of what I was listening to on the podcast, what I'd gather in my own head.
You didn't take Steve's shining recommendation of it from episode 1.
I did, I took it on a very low level, right?
Right.
And I know there is people that do like it, like Steve. He likes it. He liked it. He liked it. And Hillary. And I know that they've talked it up. But then on the other side, I know there's a lot of people that picked it apart. So before we do talk about it deeply, I have a little bit of respect for what they do, but I don't think I like this.
That's like, you know what?
I don't hate
now
it.
Covered the first 3.
Yeah.
And you can see the direction it was going in, and I can really appreciate that, even if I don't think it's a great film. Is that where you're going with this, Bex?
Basically, I'll give a little spoiler alert for what I've written here.
Okay.
At one point in the movie, I did kind of check out.
Okay.
But I have loads of notes, but my head was just like, I think I'm kind of done with watching this now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's where I was. But there's pieces in here where I actually think they do really cool shit. And there's some stuff that's really interesting, and they could have done it cooler than what they did do, but it just doesn't land properly for me either. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't land properly.
See, I had that written on my notes as well. I'm cringe. I know.
No, we got that. That was a beautiful little footnote there. It's in my everlasting respect to George and how he just changed the game. And I think of where we are now with this movie. Think back to 2005, right? This is 20 years after Day, right? And what is Day how long after Night does Day come? What was Night? 1968?
God, we go through this every time, and
we mention it every time. Yeah.
So, right. Quick maths. Day is 17 years then by my maths after Night, and then 20 years after Day comes Land. 37 years later, George is still, and you can George is great, and I would always have a lot of love for George and the movies he gave us, the franchise he gave us, the memories he gave us.
Absolutely.
But 37 years later, I said it in my actually letterbox review, which I'll plug at the end of the episode. But George, it just felt like as much as he had the great ideas, I feel like the guy was just running on fumes at this point, but not in a negative way. It's just like he'd give us so much prior to this movie that is like,
imagine working for 37 years doing this genre and these ideas,
and
like,
none of us are even.
Maybe that's it. That like for the first time, he wasn't really pushing the boundaries in terms of something new.
I even think he took a step back with this. That's what I've written down. After the trilogy, I think this movie is a step backwards. Right. Where he could have caught up with the times and done a movie that is on the same level, but I think he takes a lot of steps backwards with some of the stuff he does.
Let's talk about caught up with the times. I mean, the messaging in this film is very 2005. Right.
Very capitalist, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very Bush administration.
Yeah.
It also seems like, so not to like go fully in on this is George's doing here. The studio fucked him, right? The studio was pushing against his ideas. They didn't give him they gave him a big budget, but they didn't give him the budget he needed to go all out into his ideas. He had to constantly, this is why he said he prefers working on a smaller scale or with like, more independent productions, because he's more in control, didn't have to share control. And apparently that was like a big issue, that he was constantly having to go against what the studio said and try and appease them basically to get this movie made. But yes, it does feel like with his other movies, he was pushing against the grain. This is like the studio saw the success of 28 Days Later and the Dawn of the Dead remake, and they were like, oh, let's get the original zombie guy in to make us a film.
Yeah.
But it's George A. Romero. He doesn't do 28 Days Later. He doesn't do Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead. He makes a George A. Romero film with slow ass zombies and some political commentary.
He has his own style. Follow up to that, even because I think at this time this was George. When you think of the shoestring budgets George operated prior compared to this, I think this was around the ballpark of like $15 to $17 million, which is like he had nothing like that for the prior. I'd imagine that this is speculation on my part, but I imagine that his trilogy that came before, all three of them combined, probably didn't touch that budget. So it's like, right, he did get a lot of pushback, he did get a lot of interference, and then like they probably just shoveled all this money at him as well, or a considerable amount, and he was just like, well, I don't need all of that. So maybe he felt that, right, I've got the money now, maybe try and go bigger, try and make it a spectacle. It's a shame.
Funny, as a huge George fan, I've watched his interviews over the years, and I've listened to his director's commentaries, and in all of his earlier commentaries is like, yeah, imagine if I had like this big budget. Imagine if they gave me like the budget that they give all of these other like Hollywood directors, and then he gets the budget, but then he has to deal with studio interference constantly, and is like, I hate working for Hollywood. I don't want to do this. This is terrible. This is awful. Hollywood sucks. And this is why for his entire life he basically filmed in Pittsburgh, because he preferred that to being in Hollywood, which is very understandable. We'll probably get into a little bit why Hollywood sucks, but this film. Sorry, there's a storm brewing outside. I think I just opened my window right before the podcast,
and immediately you can hear it.
Okay, is that what? All right. I'll maybe open it up when it gets too hot again. We'll see. Oh, I'm sitting in darkness now. This is spooky. If you're listening at home, turn all your lights off as well.
Exactly. Get immersed into this.
Let's get immersed. This film as well. We spoke about the bigger scale, and I definitely prefer like the cast of Dawn and Diary, where it's like small groups that are working together.
Yep.
Day has like a bigger group. Well, not really. I guess it's still pretty small groups, but they're like split into factions.
The scientists and the soldiers, yeah.
Yeah. In Land, we've got Riley, we got Cholo, we got Kaufman, we got the zombies, we got capitalism, we got we got all of this.
Barley Slack, there's so many of them, yeah.
Yeah,
it's just a bloated but I think when you've got just a bigger cast where the other cast felt kind of closer and everybody was memorable in some way, you know, in the prior movies. There's just like, you've got the kind of named characters in this one, and then there's just a whole bunch of like nameless goons that just follow them along.
I think the rest of the cast all worked in the previous films, and even in the films after this, they all work a lot better together than this cast has. A bunch of different stars.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to have the chemistry that our previous smaller casts had.
Yeah.
You've got Night and Dawn have these small group of characters trying to find a safe and secure place to like wait out the nightmare that's outside. Land is quite different because we have the security. We have this giant city, you know, this giant shelter, and people have reverted back to their old ways. We're separating people into classes again, and we're valuing like money over life. And the protagonist, Riley, actually wants to leave the security of the city and go out by himself. He's sick of working for the upper class, where in the previous stuff, we didn't have any of this. It was just people trying to survive and wait, you know, get past what is happening. Hopefully everything goes back to normal. So this is set in a world where that happened. Everything kind of did return to normal, but in a shit way, you know?
There's a structure in here, but it's messed.
Riley, he's sick of being a scavenger. He's sick of working for the upper class. Cholo is his second in command, and he shares the same want of trying to escape this way of living. And he wants to leave the working class scavenger lifestyle as well, but they both go about it in different ways, and we'll cover that when we get into the film. I was actually pretty surprised at how much I enjoyed the world building in this.
Yeah.
It actually really dragged me in. When I first watched this film, this is probably the George A. Romero zombie film that I've seen the least. This and maybe Survival of the Dead. I really dislike Survival. I don't think that's a good movie. Which is the final film, unfortunately. Okay. But this time, I was in.
You're in.
I'm in. I'm loving the physical sets. I'm loving how like real. I don't know if real is the right term, but we've just watched like countless modern Hollywood films where it just feels like I was talking about it earlier. It just feels like they're all filmed in a cupboard, you know, or in front of a green screen. And this film, everything feels tangible. It reminds me a little bit of
one big alleyway scene.
Oh.
There's one alleyway scene where there's two people just floating across the road and they're pretending that that's real.
Wait, really? Oh,
yeah. Okay. I had to rewind. When we get to it, when we're talking about it, I had to rewind 3 times and I spotted that they're just floating on the road. They're not really on a shot.
The film feels a lot to me like... I was reminded of the 90s Mario movie.
Yeah.
Everything is just like this dark, grungy city, and it even has a few of the same cast members too. So I couldn't get that out of my head.
That's wild.
To go back to the world building as well. Like George is so good at setting the scene. Mm-hmm. We know that there are different settlements around. It's not just like scientists and soldiers like hiding in holes. That the people all have jobs and roles in society. There's scavengers, there's hunters, there's markets, you know, entertainment, there's strippers and shopping, you know, there's a system of law. And this is all brand new for the world of the undead, you know.
That he's actually built, yeah. This is the first time we're seeing it outside of our little bubble that we're normally with the cast of characters, you know.
Exactly. So I can really appreciate that. Which I never appreciated fully when I first watched this, but I can appreciate that after watching his first 3 films and the scale of those, and then he's upping the playing field, like literally here. It feels like a lived-in world to me.
Yeah.
You guys got anything more to say before we jump into the timeline here, and we'll break down the movie as we discuss what happens in it?
No. Ready to go to the plot, unless you do, Steve.
Yeah, it's I guess that's one of the things I've come to appreciate even on this most recent viewing. It's his world building, the concept that's there, and just showing us how the other side, like how the others live outside of what we've previously had established. It was I think that's another one, I guess, that kind of piqued my interest in this movie. All like when I first watched it all those years ago, it's like seeing that there's how different people have to survive, or how different people survive and struggle in other ways. And the metaphor is not lost on me, but like just the whole about like the rich live up high and the poor live down in the slums.
It's very what's the term? Ham-fisted,
Ham-fisted,
heavy.
yeah.
It's very
it's
in your face.
nose.
The metaphors are so in your face, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all I have.
All right, guys. Land of the Dead. This is going to be interesting because for the first time, the three of us aren't totally psyched about the film, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into it. Bex, chime in with any of your notes if they differ from mine, or if you want to, say maybe a darker side to it, because I think
if I disagree with some of the stuff, I'll pipe up. There is bits not like, I'm not being Mr. Cynical for anybody who's listening now. I'm not being Mr. Cynical. There is some stuff that I do like, but there's a lot that I just don't. Yeah. So I'll pipe up when I need to.
Okay, great. Let's go. Let's go. I just flipped my phone and then my notes reset back to 0. So I'm just going to go. Let's just go for it. The news broadcasts, they never fail to get me hyped. When these films start. Before even the fucking news broadcasts, the title credits are so cool.
Yeah,
they're very 2000s.
I love that. So maybe it's nostalgia for that time, but I love really cool. I love them. And then that goes into the news broadcasts, and I think they do like a really good job of catching you up into the world that the film is now set in, which is really cool.
Wait, whoa. Before we do fully set in, I just have to ask the question. I know you guys have explained this to me already, but when I was watching it, I got very confused. Is this an actual continuation of the trilogy, or is it a different thing?
I believe it is.
Because that opening credits got me very confused, because it felt like they were giving us the space between where we had seen the end of the trilogy and we were coming into this. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was a lot getting covered in that news bit in the credits, and that made me confused, because I was like, wait, they're saying an awful lot, and a lot of time seems like it has passed. So is it carrying on for when we left off, or is this now just considered a different thing completely?
Do you want to know the way I see these films? Is that let me try and articulate this. Each movie was made in a different time in history, and they are all like kind of sequels to each other, as in the themes continue and are worked upon and pushed forward. But Dawn is obviously not in the same exact world as Night of the Living Dead, right?
Right.
Because Night happens in the 60s and then Dawn happens in the late 70s. Right. Like, it doesn't make sense that but where Night is, it's only been, I think, a few days since the zombies have appeared. And in Dawn, it's been 3 weeks. And then in Land, it's been, like 10 years or something like that?
It's been
a long time.
It's been a long time it's been a couple of months then in Day. I think is each movie just kind of like...
Oh, sorry. I mean, Day, I think it's been a few years. I said Land by accident. In Day, I think we're maybe like 7 to 10 years. And Day feels like it could be a direct sequel to Dawn. Mm-hmm. But none of these movies have the same cast of characters either. So
unfortunately,
because they're all different studios. So on like a technical, if you're being very technical about it, very actually, none of them are direct sequels to each other because they're all owned by different IP. They're all owned by different publishers and producers and studios. But George worked on them all.
Yep.
And it's his ideas that are constantly going forward. They didn't have the rights to Dawn or Day when they made this, but there does seem to have been enough time that this could be a sequel to Day.
Yeah.
Although the way I see it is this movie came out in 2005. and everything has kind of stayed at 2005 level. This is like if the world ended in 2005 for me, and then it's 20 years later. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. I see what you mean.
And day is to me like the world ended in the 80s, and then that's the future. It's not the future of night, which the world ended in the 60s.
Yeah.
And then Diary of the Dead ends in the 2000s, and where Diary of the Dead is like right at the beginning. It's not even a few days in, it's like the first minutes basically, you know, and that's really cool. But that can't be a sequel to this movie, because that's the apocalypse is happening in the early 2000s, and this movie must take place in like 2020. Oh my God, it must take place like now. This movie must take place like now, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But they never give a definitive time in this film as to when it takes place. I think they just say some time ago or something like that in the opening credits. Yeah. Does that make any sense? Did that?
Yeah, no, it's just like I said, the opening credits got me confused, because I know we've said this and we've talked it out before that they're not, but then the way they were talking in the opening credits and filling in like a timeline, I was like, is it a sequel? Did the lads say it was a sequel? But you're after explaining it again, so I understand again.
It's fun to explain. It's fun to talk about, because it's so different to like so many other movies that have sequels, where they are just genuinely set in the same timeline and in the same universe, where each iteration is kind of like its own universe. We could have a George A. Romero multiverse film with Fran, and Ben,
CGI,
and
George A.
Cholo,
and then Riley teaming up. Oh, would be sick. Yes, yes, please, I need it.
That would be cool, right?
I need it.
There are loads of awesome zombie audiobooks out there that have these news reports, like that have this same kind of style as the opening of this. So go find them. I love a good zombie audiobook. My favorite is The Living Dead, and I've mentioned that before. That's George A. Romero's final piece of work that he put out into the zombie world, and it's my favorite.
A nice swan song.
His swan song. Well, it was never finished before he died.
Someone finished it on
somebody
his
else
behalf.
finished it. Yeah, with him. Okay. We're going to talk about another project later. Actually, there was a sequel to this that was in the works.
A direct sequel.
Kind of. It's another issue where they didn't have the license for this for land, but they wanted to make a sequel. We'll get into it when the time comes, because I've got notes on that. So we started in a cemetery again.
Yep.
It's homage to Night, I suppose. I love a good zombie movie in a cemetery, but then you hear something that shook me to my core when I was younger. It's the brass band playing, and then the camera pans, and it's the zombies playing the instruments, and I'm like, oh, I'm out. That was me when I first watched this film. I was like, oh no. Yeah.
Oh,
and
man.
That's our gunk reference that we mentioned in the podcast earlier. They're playing the notes that are basically the same notes that would make up gunk.
Are they?
Oh,
yeah.
That's
that remember when we looked it up and it said that the zombies that play the instrument are playing the same whatever notes that would make up gunk. That's what it is. That's what they were. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can hear it now. Yeah.
Oh my God.
There you go.
So, we gunked Steve early, and now we've got to listen to it.
Thank you, Bex. Thank you for that. Oh my goodness.
I had to note it down because I looked back on our podcast. I was like, which movie did we say it was? And I was like, right, it's on land. And when they started playing it, it clicked in my head. I was like, go back and find where that was so you can make the notes so that you remember to bring it back up. So there we go.
Nice.
How are they doing that when they? I was under the impression that zombies don't breathe air.
Yeah, exactly. So their lungs are no longer functioning.
In fact, later on they walk underwater, don't they? And
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. To be fair, maybe they can still. Maybe they don't need it, but they can still take in air. Maybe.
Huh? Yeah,
maybe
they don't need to breathe, but they can.
Right.
I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
if we're going to start explaining every single thing that he's doing, it's going to get very complicated.
That's true. It's magic. It's dark magic. A wizard did it.
Like
Zombie wizard.
Zombie wizard did it. That kind of would take us into the Return of the Living Dead franchise, which is just nuts. That was the spin-off of this in a sense.
Nuts good or nuts bad? Or nuts in the middle?
It's
okay.
Every other one seems to be good. It's like a good movie, a bad movie, a good movie, a bad movie. But yeah,
I've only seen one of them.
We'll maybe get there, you know. Maybe we'll do it. There's two guys and they're scoping out a gas station, and they see the zombies pretending to be alive. You know, that's kind of freaky, isn't it? I think one of the guys, like, they're pretending to be alive. I think so. It's Riley. We've got played by Simon Baker.
Yeah,
and who's the other guy?
Mike.
Yeah. Do you know who played him?
No idea.
I know it. Everybody else.
Oh, now that you've asked that question, I feel like he's important. Like the actor, he might be well known.
So the actor is like. Can one of you find his name while I?
Ron Roberts.
Okay, cool.
Oh no!
You might know him because I'm sure you're seeing his IMDb here. He's Wesker in the Resident Evil movies.
I'm ashamed. That's our Wesker.
That's Wesker. That's our Wesker that we grew up with in the Resident Evil movies, the Mila Jovovich ones.
Oh my lord, Sean Roberts. As soon as I seen his portrait, I was like, wait. That's our Wesker from the
I know him from something else.
Oh, he's had a very interesting filmography career. He's an X-Men. He's in.
Who is he in X-Men?
He's Rogue's girlfriend in the first movie.
He's Rogue's girlfriend.
His boyfriend.
He's in Jumper. He's in Percy Jackson. He's in The Return of Xander Cage. Oh my!
He's literally the only person I didn't take notes for because I don't know that face.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
That is the face of Wesker.
That is Albert Wesker.
And you know what? I think he did a fantastic Wesker. It was terribly written, but he's got the look and the vibe and the
demeanor,
the energy of Albert Wesker in those films.
He's one of the few highlights of that franchise.
I'm cowering my armchair as I'm suppressing those movies. Not allowing myself to remember.
It's pretty nuts, isn't it? That this guy who has such, you didn't even, none of us even wrote his name down because it's such a tiny part in this film, went on to become one of the biggest villains in zombie media, you know?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
My only notes for this opening sequence is just the dialogue, because him and Riley's back and forth is just really interesting to me, because it's Riley. Our Mike is like, they're trying to be us. Riley responds, they used to be us, learning how to be us again. It's just and it's very ham-fisted because Mike then responds, it's like they're trying to be alive. And then Riley responds, isn't that what we're doing? Or it's pretending to be alive. It's so cheesy and it's so ham-fisted. It's so 2005.
I love how cheesy it is, though. I actually really like that.
For the first 30 minutes.
Okay, yeah. I do got to say, I think I agree with you where the pacing is definitely off with this film compared to the others. Day was slow, but I felt like it was well paced. You know? And then there's a big explosion at the end.
I think they have too much going on in this. They have too many stories going on at the same time. They're caught in between it too quickly, where it gets really messy.
It's way bigger in scope, and it's. So
all of the three movies prior are all building to something. There's always just it's always paced in a way that is building to a point where something goes wrong or the plans don't go. Plans don't go the way they should have. Whereas this, it's you're jumping back and forth.
We'll get to it, but on that point where Dawn ends with the biker gang, this almost starts with the biker gang. We're about to see them actually. So I can totally see that. I will say again, The Living Dead, the book. Check out the book, or check out the audio version, which I love. Is this done correct, and it's huge in scope, and it starts right at the beginning of the apocalypse, and you follow it for 20 years basically, and it's incredible, and I love it, and I adore it, and all the characters are done amazing, and it's following so many different characters, but it all just works. So yeah, check that out. Okay. Now we're gonna be introduced to. Yep, that's the one. Whoever just sent that in the Discord there, that's the one. That's it. That's incredible. So now we're introduced to one of my favorite characters, Big Daddy.
Big Daddy, yeah. That's his name in the casting. Like at the cast in the casting
that's
credit.
Literally his name. So the big zombie, our big boy zombie, he's called Big Daddy for some reason.
Yeah. I have to jump in here and say I have to refuse to say his name the entire time, because if anybody on my stream catches me saying the D word, I'm done for. So I can't say his name.
I don't think you can avoid it, Bex.
I can't. I just have to call him the gas station zombie or something.
What's his name? No.
His name is Big Daddy.
Yeah. Put some respect.
These guys will say it for you guys. Don't worry. They'll say it for me.
I will get you at some point. So I'm gonna be watching. I'm gonna wait for a moment to try and get you.
He's using grunts to signal to the other zombies, and he's almost like communicating with them. We're quite far past the original trilogy now, and this is almost as in my head canon. Bub went on and left the base in Day, and went on to teach a bunch of zombies. You know, like how Caesar does with the apes in the Planet of the Apes films. Mm-hmm. Like,
I thought you meant Bub literally went and opened a zombie school. And,
I mean, they're playing a brass band. Maybe that was part of the school. You know, it's part of the education program.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to.
I like it. Just before we jump on, I like it when we do cut to BD. There we go. When we cut to him, he's got the gas pump in his hand. He's got the gas pump in his hand. He's complete. I like that. I do like the little bits of them. Still, like he's dressed in the overalls, everything. He's still doing his job, even though he's a zombie.
He's got a cool look, and he's very well acted as well. Like, he is just a very good zombie. It's fantastic.
The zombies just look fucking awesome.
Do you know who played him? Really I don't have that written down either, actually.
I had it.
I've passed it on my notes. Eugene A. Clark.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic performance there. I you know what? Again, being sucked into this film, I just kind of like was living in it with them, and he wasn't a person to me; he was a zombie. So that's really cool. We're about to cut to our other lead now of the film, John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
I really like this guy's acting. You know, I've watched him my entire life. He's been on all the films I've seen. Most recently, I rewatched The Menu the other night.
Oh, good.
And have you seen it?
I've seen it.
Steve?
I haven't.
Oh, no. Steve, you need to fix that. Yeah.
It's very good.
Like Beck said, it's fantastic. It's very good. And he plays a real good shithead in that film. And I just think he's fantastic as a shithead. He also was Luigi in the best Mario movie. And something happened to me when I was watching this film. I closed my eyes while he was talking, and it clicked in my head who else he played.
Please don't say it, sir. Did you only realize he did the voice in Ice Age?
He's Sid the Sloth.
Yeah.
I love Sid the Sloth. That's incredible. I love Ice Age 1. The rest could go in the bin.
Yeah, they get bad.
Yeah, but I love Ice Age 1. And then throughout the rest of the movie, I would close my eyes and imagine it was Sid the Sloth like barking orders at people. Yeah,
he's a very small part in the first John Wick movie as well, which I think is really cool. His character in it is like barely in it, but the little bits he has is really good.
It's been so long.
He had the chop shop. Yeah, where John
just the way he like delivers his lines in John Wick was like, you know how bad John Wick is by the way he says how bad he is. It's
that's
so good.
Him.
That's so good.
Yeah. He's rocking this awesome jacket as well. It's a bit like Leon's in RE6. This
it is
like
actually
2000s biker jacket.
Yeah.
I like his quote here. That's life, bro. Whole lot of trash. Trick is not to get in with it.
I have that written down, and I was like, am I gonna I don't want my whole part in this episode to be just quoting the movie, but I'm glad you got.
I don't have many other quotes. I just really like that one. So you jump in with quotes when you feel the time is right. But yeah, so John Leguizamo is like, he's going to like a rubbish pit and he's dumping what seems to be boxes of dead bodies.
Yeah.
Right? That's what he's doing, because we see him throw boxes into this pit and there's blood coming out of them. So yeah, he's already doing badass one-liners after he snipes a zombie in the head with his spear gun. I like how he has his own like weapon as well, where everybody else just kind of uses a gun. He has a spear gun. He really stands out there. I think I just prefer him to Riley. You know, his character Cholo. Oh my goodness, yeah. When I found out his character's name was Cholo as well, I was like, really?
Yeah, it's very ham-fisted, isn't it?
Yeah. Everything in this film is just like, we've said it before. Yeah, it's ham-fisted. So
remember that line as well, Seb, by the way, actually, what you said when they're disposing of the bodies and we're led to believe that they're all like zombies that have been taken care of, because it's very good. It pops up again later on in the movie in one of Cholo's lines.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that's him and his goons are doing that. He's got a bunch of goons. You know what? Even though Riley is, I'm getting ahead of myself. So we see the biker gang, and the biker gangs really did manage to survive the zombie apocalypse.
Yep.
These guys are way smarter than the guys in Dawn of the Dead.
Yep.
That just went into that mall and then got themselves all killed for no reason.
And cream pied.
Got themselves cream pied, Bex.
Ooh, yeah. You know,
you
one
can
guy
say that, but you won't say Big Daddy.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get him.
It's a running thing with the D word. I can't do it.
Yeah, our protagonist Riley is played by the Mentalist, Simon Baker. That's a TV show that my parents watch all the time for some reason.
It's a handsome man.
He was a handsome man. He still is a handsome man, actually. Yeah. And they're sneaking around looking for supplies. And he's chilling with Mike Wesker, Albert Mike Wesker. And then Charlie walks up and scares Mike because the homie Charlie here is a burnt face, and
that's
got to be rough, like having to live like that in the zombie apocalypse where people are so fast to pull a gun and shoot. You know, everything's on like reflex. Yeah. So Charlie and Riley are bros. Charlie is Riley's back. Are we going to find out later that this is due to Riley saving Charlie at some point? Yep. And Charlie feels like he owes Riley a life debt. So Charlie is Chewbacca and Riley is Han Solo.
Han Solo, yeah.
Yeah. and actually, Riley wants to go solo throughout this entire film, doesn't he? He wants to go do his own thing, so that makes sense. They use fireworks to distract the zombies, and they call the fireworks sky flowers. And it's really cringe every time they do it.
Put some flowers in the graveyard.
But the fireworks are being fired out of the coolest vehicle ever.
Oh yes.
Yeah, they are. These guys have been living throughout the apocalypse. They know how to survive, and they have a giant armored truck. And you can tell that this movie was put into production after the success of the Dawn of the Dead remake, because they like do up a truck, don't they, at the end and drive through. And this truck is called Dead Reckoning.
Yep.
So edgy.
So 2000s.
So fucking awesome. This truck is amazing. This film has been described as George's Mad Max.
Oh.
You know?
Oh, okay.
And in fact, in 2015... there were some like rumors that George was going to be making a movie called Road of the Dead.
Oh.
And it was going to have zombie races going against each other in a coliseum of wealthy humans In a Coliseum for wealthy humans' enjoyment.
That's a lot to unpack, Seb. Road of the Dead, 2015. Because when did Fury Road come out? Was it around that time?
Oh my god! When did Fury Road come out? 2015.
Oh my god! Yeah, that would have been an interesting summer of cinema.
Yeah,
Fury Road and then Road of the Dead.
Yeah,
gladiators type Coliseum where zombies race against each other.
Yeah.
Oh, George.
Well, he didn't write this. It was another writer who wrote it for George, and George, he looked over it, and I think he was going to direct it. And what happened was, not to get into it too much right now, but what happened was when George had agreed on the script and he'd done a few passovers on the script and like fixed it up in a way that he deemed acceptable. And then when he passed away, the Dead license went to his family members, his estate.
Yeah.
And they saw the scripts and they were like, no.
Okay.
No. So the writer couldn't get this movie made. So now I believe he's still trying to get it made under the name like Wolf Island or something like that. So instead of zombies, he's going to use werewolves, and it's going to be the same kind of deal.
Yeah. My man has not given up on this endeavor.
Yeah, he loves it. And to be fair, I bet he feels screwed because George was with him on this.
He had George, interested, enough to, damn.
Yeah.
Maybe someday we'll see it. Maybe someday we'll cover it.
Maybe. Okay, so Riley is aware that the dead are getting smarter, and people just aren't really caring. Nobody really believes him.
Yeah.
At this point in the movie, my notes say, "Wait, John Leguizamo's character is called Cholo."
Yeah.
Fucking Cholo. So Cholo is a. It's used in a derogatory term for like, is it like
Latin Americans? Mexicans?
Yeah, I think Mexican cartel, Mexican gangsters in America. That's what people normally use Cholo for. But that's the character's name, so that's why we're saying it, guys.
Yeah.
John Leguizamo has a fascinating family tree as well, and his history is he's a total mix of culture, kind of like myself. I'm also a mix of all of these different parts of the world. So I don't know. I like him. I hope I don't hear anything bad about him, because I like him, or at least I like his acting.
Yeah. So he's a good actor. Yeah.
They scavenge at night because that's when the fireworks are effective, distracting the undead. They actually refer to the zombies here as walkers.
Yeah. Is that like the first? It was so surreal hearing that again, outside of obviously The Walking Dead.
Well, I think this movie also had Greg Nicotero doing the special effects as well.
Yeah.
So
he was.
There we go.
He's in there as a zombie somewhere too.
I have listened to the commentary of this film and watched documentaries, but years ago, like over the years, and so I've not done a recent listen. But yeah, the zombie effects in this. What do you guys think about them?
I like them. I think they look cool.
I think they all look great, but it's not really pushing any boundaries like they did in Day of the Dead. You know what I mean?
No,
it's
kind
of
more the same, isn't it? Yeah,
they just kind of got to that point where you can't really do a better zombie.
No, like there's one zombie in particular in this, and I believe she is a baseball player, and I just think her makeup is, and I think we're introduced to her around the Skyflower scene, and I just think her makeup is fantastic. The effects there is wonderful, and it stays consistent throughout the whole thing.
I did write that in this point. Yeah, the zombie designs are really badass here. They're really cool.
So I think maybe you could say Dave was peak, and then this is just more of the same. It's how can you really expand on it? Yeah. There's some gnarly kills in this one. Which,
there's one kill in particular that I can't wait to talk about because I really love it. But yeah, so Big Daddy is trying to stop the zombies from being distracted because he looks at the fireworks and is like, oh, come on, guys. And he's looking at all of his homies around him and they're all just staring up, brain dead. And it's no use, though. And then the survivors cut a bunch of them down with like their machine guns as they drive past with on their bikes and stuff. And you actually see Big Daddy has emotions, you know? Yeah. He's kind of traumatized by this and he's angered by this. So this is another thing that took me out of it when I first watched the movie, but they go and loot some stores and the stores have like packed shelves.
Yeah, like the booze run that they go on literally in the scene. I'm just like, there's no way.
So deep into the apocalypse. Unless like everybody died straight away and they just haven't been to this shop. Like that makes no sense to me that this place hasn't been looted.
Like it's absolutely packed, like fridges, shelves, everything. It's like it's untouched. And it's a alcohol, like it's a liquor store. Like of course, a lot of people are going to go there first.
Yeah. So the fireworks have stopped, but Cholo wants to get some special supplies.
Mm-hmm.
And so they stopped the fireworks, and
did it stop or did it jam?
Maybe it jammed, but that doesn't really come into play here. I was expecting like a bunch of zombies to like burst into the store while they're there, but that never really happens.
No.
So I feel like something was cut there. Something's maybe missing there because.
Oh yeah, because it cuts from the fireworks stopping and then they're outside the liquor store and there's literally no walkers around at all.
Yeah. I feel like something's definitely missing there because I don't know why you would do it. So they're in the liquor store, they're getting some booze, and Cholo is trying to get like cigars or something, and a zombie jumps out at Cholo, but we see how capable of handling himself he is. Mm-hmm. Like a zombie's got him pinned to the ground and he grabs his spear gun and manages to spear it through the head.
Yep.
And he's kind of like he's very macho, and he asks the kid to, like, he's kind of bossing everybody around because he is second in command, as we find out. And you know what? Yeah. The people, his crew, seem to prefer him over Riley, who is first in command.
Yeah, that's true.
They always give Cholo a lot more respect, even though we're supposed to think of Cholo as the more of like a shitty character than Riley.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They give him a lot more respect. In fact, they work with him in his plan later on, where Riley, he's kind of a shit leader, you know, because he doesn't want to. He's apathetic. And I think this is why I prefer watching Cholo to Riley. In like any scene where Cholo's in, I was far more interested than any scene with Riley was in. I don't really like the character of Riley too much. I don't think there is much of a character there, to be honest.
That's a good, because I think I have a good question for both of you here now. Land of the Dead, you take Riley out of this movie entirely. Is anything of note lost?
The trip to the place, the plan to leave to go up north, I guess.
Yeah,
but that would have happened with Cholo anyway.
Like Cholo, Cholo's plan is, I think. Well, we'll get to actually Cholo's plan, but Cholo has a plan. Like he wants out of this kind of like life. This raiding life. Yeah,
but the scavenger life. Cholo wants to go up to Fiddler's Green later on in the film.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to live
that it's called Fiddler's Green. I'm sorry. I said this about something. I said something about fiddlers before in some aspect. I think in a movie or something like that. The word fiddler. I know it's a musician, but it's horrible.
It's no good. It's no good. The word fiddler makes you think horrible imagery. Yeah.
Fiddler's Green.
There's a line here when Chulo is telling Riley that he wants to go to Canada, right? And then Charlie comes out and he goes, "What did you do? Win the lottery or something?" And Riley replied something, and I actually paused the movie there. I was like, do I really need to watch this? Like, is it going to get any better than this? But I passed.
Really? You were so
like,
not into
the way he said it. It's just like, what did he do? Win the lottery or something? And Riley like just something and then walks off. I was just like, man, is this what they're going to talk like the whole movie?
It is.
That is how they're talking. That is how they're talking.
Yeah. But this wasn't your checkout point. That comes later.
It comes way later. Like I got back in. I got worse, so I checked out entirely later on.
You've not seen the next two films, have you?
No.
I think the
No.
dialogue gets worse.
At least this has some cool zombies. You know,
Mhm.
I can give it. And there's some
Yeah.
cool shit happening. There's cool shit.
Diary has the best atmosphere. I love it.
Okay.
But it's really cheesy. And then Survival is just oh my god, Survival's so bad. Okay. All right.
So he's here. Actually, yes. Sorry. Footnote: Cholo's here to collect some special supplies, cigars and champagne is what he's here for.
Yes, because he's going to be celebrating. You see, yes, and he orders Mike to pick up his cigars that is dropped like behind the counter.
Yeah, Mike goes with him,
and a zombie bites Mike.
Yep,
and Mike instantly realizes what is happening here, and he just shoots himself in the head.
Yeah.
And you kind of realize how nihilistic the tone of the film is, where it's like, oh yeah, people are really expendable. Like, you get bitten, you got no time to think about it, just fucking shoot, you know?
Whereas in Dawn, I remember, like, in every movie, getting bitten kind of, you knew it was bad. But now
is it Roger who they keep him alive for a while in Dawn, you know, and they wait for him to turn into a zombie before shooting him?
Yes.
Because I guess they're just like, all right, well, I'm obviously going to turn into a zombie. Just kill me now. That's it. You know? Yeah,
because like Dawn is, like we said, like we've established, is 3 weeks after the outbreak, so it's still relatively fresh. Excuse the pun. And then whereas in Land, they've been at this for years. It's safe to guess that they've been at this for years.
So they really make this seem like it's Cholo's fault.
Riley gives him a hard time.
I don't think it was. Mike was kind of an idiot. He jumped over the counter and just stuck his head down, and they hadn't checked it out first. Like, you're so deep into the apocalypse and you aren't checking your corners. Like, have you never played CS? Like,
exactly. Mike is here, and you can tell he's brash. He's kind of naive. That's what you get from his character with his interactions with Riley and Cholo. He wants to impress. You know, he goes with Cholo on that run because he's like, right, I want to beat him with the guys. You know, I want to, and he kind of blindly just follows orders, and it gets him killed.
And then he turns into Albert Wesker. And
this is my headcanon, yeah.
It's pretty cool fight scene when he's Albert Wesker, you know. That fight scene of him is really dope, where he's kind of like teleporting around and stuff, and he's
it's basically
his glasses.
It's like for like an RE. Did RE5 copy that, or did that RE5 copied that? I believe, or was it the other way around? Surely that copied RE5. The whole tossing his sunglasses and Chris catching them. Yeah,
they kind of so Resident Evil. The Matrix became super popular,
right?
And then the creators turned Albert Wesker into a Matrix character.
Yeah.
And that happened in the games because it happened in RE0. I don't know when RE0 came out. He's already like Albert Matrix Wesker by RE0. Yeah. But yeah, that was definitely influenced by the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
So Big Daddy, get back to Big Daddy. He, like, the bikers are like driving past them and shooting his friends, and he grabs a gun off one of them. He's got the AUG, and the stupid biker just drives off and just leaves his gun. You'd think that would be worth quite a lot, you know, a gun in the apocalypse.
Like,
you'd go back and try and get
that magnitude as well, by the way.
Yeah. And the horde, the zombie horde, Big Daddy zombie horde, they see the city in the distance because that's where the bikers are going. And you can you can kind of see that Big Daddy's like, fuck that place. That place is killing my people. We're going to go march to it. We're going to go fuck it up. And this is Fiddler's Green. For the first time, we're seeing Fiddler's Green. Mm-hmm. And speaking of Fiddler's Green, I said that there was a video game last week connected to this film.
Yep.
I tried to play it this week and I could not get it to work. Steve, did you actually get it to work? Did you play Fiddler's Green?
I did. Tabbing in and out of it is absolutely misery, though. So I want to stream it desperately at some point in the lead up or once this episode goes live.
Yeah.
But my God, if you even so much as like click off screen by accident, the whole game just shits the bed.
I think if you go into the ini file, you can change it to Windows mode.
Okay, that's what I'll do.
That'll maybe help. Yeah,
but yeah, it's dope. It's a zombie game of its time as well.
I looked up a lot of gameplay, and I remember when it came out, people would talk about how dog shit it is, but compared to like a lot of other games from 2005 that were also, straight from movie games,
cash-ins, yeah,
it seemed pretty good.
Yeah, and there's a fan-made mod as well that expands on it in so many ways too.
So the story is you play as like a farmer, and there's a zombie out in his yard, and he goes and kills the zombie, and then he's like, oh, it's not safe here. So then he has to go on a road trip basically to the city, and he finds his way to Fiddler's Green. And does it take place at the beginning of the apocalypse?
Yeah.
It's before this, isn't it?
The events are like prior to this movie. Yeah. So in my headcanon, the farmer is actually a tiny little spoiler, not too far ahead, but the angry Irishman that we meet in a few seasons today.
That was my headcanon as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Classic George era. Classic these movies we watch with the angry Irish guys.
So, we are an angry bunch. Sometimes.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph, don't be saying that.
Oh, God. That brings me back. Oh, Day. What a movie. What a movie. I love Day.
So you guys just wait until Survival. Survival. It's everybody has an Irish accent. Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
So Cholo's trying to get higher up in society. Riley's trying to get a car because he wants out, and he's done working for Fiddler's Green. We see the city is guarded by electric fences and soldiers. So Fiddler's Green is pretty secure. You know?
It is.
The city really has a feeling like The Last of Us to me. You know, when we're going through the streets and we're seeing that there's the slums and people doing shitty jobs, and they're all being like watched by the soldiers. It definitely feels like that. Not the first level in The Last of Us 1, but you know, when it time skips and you're Joel walking through the streets.
Yeah.
I think you're onto something there, because this downtown Fiddler's Green is actually it's based off a real life location, obviously, of Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh is the major city in the first game, or one of the major cities.
Yeah. Oh,
which is really cool.
They probably did that because Pittsburgh is so iconic for zombies, thanks to George.
And that real, like that section that's blocked off on nearly all three sides by the river and bridges it's dope. It's literally, it's called the Mouth in real life. It's a suburb, or it's a borough of Pittsburgh. It's really cool.
That's awesome. Bex,
that'd be great.
The Last of Us is like your favorite game ever, right?
Yeah. I was trying to think what I was going to say. Oh yeah, it's here where we have the really dodgy CG scene of Riley and Charlie with the high-rise apartments around them, where they're just floating on the pavement, walking between them.
Okay. I'm going to go back and watch that. I want to see that.
It's literally like, like orange brick buildings, right?
Yeah.
It's the apartment blocks are the high-rise orange brick buildings, and they're walking in a little alleyway, and it's a really high up shot, and the two of them are just floating on the footpath. They're not walking, they're just gliding across it.
I wonder why they did that then, because you can film a street scene.
Yeah, that feels like such a nothing burger shot, like, because and I didn't even remember, and like that. So
if you go literally after recording, if you go back and check it, you'll spot it if you go looking for it. You'll see it.
I'm going to go check it out. So this is actually where we meet our Irish street preacher, Mulligan.
Mulligan.
Is this a common Irish name, Mulligan?
It's an Irish name, I would believe, but I've yet to. I don't know any Mulligans myself.
And what's the first thing he does? He sees Charlie and he tosses him a drink.
He does.
He's got a flask.
His son is Rodney from Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Oh,
for anybody that knows those movies.
I
know nothing about those movies. But I see that they're are they always being made, or they're always in the cinema? What's going on there? What's the deal?
Straight to VOD. Yeah,
they've probably gone into their straight to home releasing now. But he was also in Oppenheimer and Saw 4, I think.
The son.
Yeah. Rodney was in Oppenheimer, and I think it's either. I know he's in 6, but I don't know if it's 3 or 4. I think it's 4 that he's in. So there you go. He's in some
The actor's
movies.
son.
Yeah.
Not the character Mulligan. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mulligan's son in the movie. That actor is in
Wait.
some.
Okay.
Oh, not the actor's son.
No, the character's
the character's son. Okay.
Who's coughing.
Yeah. That's his whole scene in this, or his whole impact in this movie is just like coughing or loading a gun. That's all Mulligan's son does. But
okay.
We're down there in the slums. Okay.
Yeah. So they're talking to Mulligan, and Mulligan's like, "Hey, you should lead this place or whatever. We're getting some freedom fighters, and the higher ups, they're being shits, you know."
Yeah.
And Riley's like, "Nah, I'm getting out of here. Fuck you." And Riley just doesn't care about people, you know.
I think about his character, and he's so apathetic, and he's so checked out. Honestly,
he's not a fun character to follow.
No, like does he ever show any signs in this movie where he of?
I know that's his whole deal, is that he's stoic and he doesn't want to be with people because people die, you know, and bad things happen to people. But yeah, he's not pushing the story forward at all compared to like the other characters. Like so we get to Cholo, and he's headed to go and see a guy called Kaufman, and Kaufman runs things, but is greeted by his butler? His manservant. This is a bad character right here.
Yeah. Oh my god. I have very little notes because I just think it's all his whole. He's just a one big stereotype, isn't he? He's
called Nip.
Tasteless. Yeah.
And
tasteless.
It's very tasteless. And is this? So we know that George A. Romero, like, it is writing that he wasn't a racist, right?
No.
Like, he did fantastic roles for black people. But then you've got this, which I think must be a commentary. It must be part of the commentary is trying to push here. Like the social commentary.
Commentary.
Society has gone back to its old ways, and then this rich white guy has a black manservant.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to watch.
It is.
It's very hard to look at. I do not enjoy it. It's tasteless, like you said. That's a good word for it.
A lot of his stuff there, he's there basically for some comic relief, and not once during any of these scenes did I laugh like at his mannerisms or his dialogues. I just thought, no, this is horrid.
All right, so he's holding some scissors, and he tells Cholo that there's some sussy noises coming from like another apartment. Yeah. So, like, we've also we've went from the slums at, like, you know, street level all the way to the top now. So it's a big juxtaposition. You can see how both sides live. I did like that. I thought that was cool how they're cutting between the shots here. So Cholo like goes into this apartment, and a guy has hanged himself. And this guy has got a very stupid wife and son.
Very stupid.
So the son, like, the wife is like screaming, and then the son goes to try and unhang his dad, and the son gets bitten by the dad.
Yep.
Is that what happens? And then Cholo grabs like a piece of modern art and then kills the dad with the piece of modern
sculpture.
art. And he doesn't really get thanked for it. And then security come in and are like, "What are you doing here?" And now I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, is Cholo going to be like framed for this murder now or something?" And then this is how they're not going to let him up into the upper echelon. But no, that isn't what happens. So they could have went that way with it. So Riley goes to get his car, because he's getting out now. That was his last job, his last scavenger job. But when he gets to the garage, the car's been stolen or something's happened to it. It's not there anymore. So he's like, all right, well, I'm going to go and find out who did this. So he goes to an underground club full of zombie cage fights. And the soundtrack is like something you'd hear in Too Fast and Too Furious.
Yep. It's all very early 2000s, you know.
You know what? I do love the setting. I love me some early 2000s club scenes. I adore Blade. Is that like late 90s?
Oh, bro, that opening scene in Blade, yeah.
That's so cool. And we see a woman gets thrown into a cage, and she's called Slack, and she's played by Asia Argento. And I'm trying to pronounce her name correctly because it's spelled Asia, so I need to like autocorrect in my brain. I looked up like interviews with her to try and get the pronunciation correct, but a lot of the interviews are American interviewers, and they say it differently every time. So if we get it wrong, that's why. And she is the daughter of Dario Argento, George's friend, and he was the co-financer of Dawn of the Dead.
Okay,
so that's probably how she got this role.
Did any of you spot the cameo just before we're introduced to her?
I was about to say Seb skipped straight over it.
This is where is this where it's Shaun of the Dead?
Yes.
So we see Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg. They're in they're zombies in a phone booth, right?
Yeah, like kind of you take your photo with the the zombies that are chained up trying to eat you.
I knew that was in this film, and I had forgotten whereabouts it was exactly, and I've been meaning to go back in my notes to add that, but I'm glad you guys picked me up on that. Yeah, so George apparently liked Shaun of the Dead so much, and Shaun of the Dead was an homage to George's work. So he had them come and cameo. Yeah. God. That was back when I liked Simon Pegg.
Oh,
I don't enjoy his work anymore. I don't know. I've not seen anything with him in that I really liked him in recently. I guess The Boys is all right in.
Yeah, but he's very much a bit part. Like he shows up every so often in that. Like he's not.
Yeah.
I've not seen anything else with him in years. Yeah.
Ready Player One.
Oh God, man. I 1 week I just want to do an episode where we don't reference that shit heap of a movie.
Oh no, I referenced it again.
God damn it! I think we did it on the Shining episode. We did it on another episode. I'm just like, no, let that movie just sink into obscurity, please. I hope I'm not the only one that feels like that. But
I'm talking about how I dislike Simon Pegg, but I don't really have any reason to, other than I don't like the roles that he's been doing. Now, to go back to Asia Argento, I did a bit of quick research before recording the podcast today, and I discovered that there is so much drama around her, and it would be wrong to not bring it up, but also I have not done the research necessary to really get into it.
You not got fully into it, yeah.
Yeah, so... And we've covered drama with other like people that we spoke about before, so it would feel wrong to. But she was a big proponent of the Me Too movement. She here's a trigger warning here, guys, because we're going to talk about something that's not very nice. Okay, I'll give you a few seconds, but if we're talking about Me Too, it's not going to be nice at all. So. She was essayed by Harvey Weinstein. And so she was huge at pushing this movement to get Harvey Weinstein arrested. While this was happening and the spotlight was on her, a young actor came out and said that he had actually been essayed by her when he was 17. And they'd known each other because this guy had played her son in a film role that they'd done years prior. So it's just a mess. Her boyfriend was Anthony Bourdain, who's a famous chef. And he committed suicide. And some people believe it's from the pressure of what happened before this young actor came out against Asia Argento was that he had been trying to get money out of the pair of them for their silence, I think. He was maybe blackmailing them. Again, I need to really go into the research here, but yeah, that's it's just a huge mess, and it's awful. Hollywood, it's shit.
The mess.
Yeah. All right, back to the film. Riley is not very PC here.
No.
He walks up to a gangster that's called Chihuahua, and he pulls him off his feet because Chihuahua is a little person.
Yeah, he is.
And calling a little person Chihuahua, it's just like, it's all of these tropes.
Yeah.
The names for people. You got Mulligan, the Irish guy. You've got Cholo, the Latin American guy. You know, it's just... What was he thinking, George? What are you doing? You were so progressive. I mean, I know he's an older man at this point, but God.
And I guess it's just the edgy early millennium, isn't it? It's that era that just like so many movies. There's so much junk out there around this time period that just either released in the theaters or went straight to like video, and it's just like across the board. There's just like there's dodgy dialogue. There's just gratuitous scenes.
It says something that Night, Dawn, and Day have all aged better than this film that came out
much later.
Yeah. This film is closer to us. It's closer to modern day than any of the previous ones, and God, it's aged.
This is the first one we would have actually been alive when it was released. The three others,
that's true. Yeah. I was 11 when this film came out.
I was 13. Yeah.
9 boys.
9. Look at us go.
Hey. So, Riley realizes that Slack is in the cage and he goes to save her. So he shoots the zombies in the cage fight, and everybody starts panicking. And then Chihuahua's like, I'm gonna shoot this guy. No, he goes for Charlie, doesn't he?
Does he go for Charlie or go for Riley?
No, Chihuahua shoots at Riley. He's trying to take out Riley.
Chihuahua shoots at Charlie. I think, I'm sure that's how it is.
No, because
why would he kill Charlie?
I don't know, but I remember skipping back to see if he actually was aiming at Charlie there.
Well,
and I think he misses, and then Charlie's like, "What the fuck?" And then Charlie shoots him instead.
Because Chihuahua tries to shoot at Chihuahua warns one of his goons that Riley's here to cause trouble, distract him for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? And then it all kicks off because Slack has been used as live bait in the cage to make the zombies fight each other. And then when it all kicks off, Slack spots Chihuahua aiming at Riley. So she kicks the cage to move him, and she gets shot. Seb.
It skims her. So
that's afterwards, though, right?
No, Chihuahua only takes one shot.
Yeah.
And then he gets done.
Then Charlie...
No, Chihuahua Charlie shoots Chihuahua, but then Chihuahua's fine because he's got a bulletproof vest on, but he's really pissed off at his suit.
Oh, what the hell?
And then he shoots at Riley, but now Slack in the cage, then she kicks the cage.
Oh, you had a different cut. I didn't have that scene at all. I didn't have that scene at all.
Yeah, Chihuahua tries to shoot at
Riley.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the middle of this is all that happened in mine. Everybody's running around. Chihuahua decides, I'm shooting Riley. Slack kicks the cage. Charlie pops Chihuahua. That's literally it. There was no
so that
extra
happened
bit.
After the whole. Well, how did Chihuahua not get shot previously?
No, the crowd is going crazy, and he just pulls out a gun on mine and goes for Riley. There's no bit before.
Yeah, the crowd starts to panic because I believe Riley shoots.
Yeah,
the two
Riley
zombies.
shoots the zombie, and everybody freaks out. And then Chihuahua tries to shoot Charlie, but misses. And then Charlie, because he's a dead aim, he shoots Chihuahua. And then Chihuahua is like, you're like, oh, Chihuahua's fucking dead. But then he just gets back up and he's rubbing his suit off because he's got a bulletproof suit underneath. But he's really pissed off that he's ruined his nice suit.
That's shit. That's shit because that ruins Charlie then as a dead shot. That's shit.
Yeah. Well, no, Charlie shot him, but he just didn't aim for the head.
Okay.
Why wouldn't he though? If he's such a good shot, why wouldn't he aim for the head? Nah, that's shit. That's shit. That's terrible.
But now we see that Charlie is a crack shot because after Chihuahua tries to then kill Riley, Charlie manages to shoot Chihuahua in the head while the crowd is running around him.
Yeah. Charlie licks the sight of his rifle and follows Chihuahua as he's, I guess, fleeing. There is actually an unrated cut of this.
Is there? Maybe I watched the unrated cut.
Because I definitely just watched the theatrical. I'm really sure. Yeah, I have to check into that. So you might have had an extra scene, and I'm glad if you had an extra scene that was an.
I wonder what else I've got then.
We'll have to see because. Yeah, I'm glad that scene was cut, to be honest, because I think Charlie's whole character is he makes a little monologue later on about why he licks
it's not as bad as you guys are thinking, really. Because he does get the shot.
Is. And I'm fighting it.
You wouldn't think that Chihuahua has a bulletproof vest underneath his suit.
I'm fighting it. If Charlie's such a crack shot, he wouldn't waste the shot hitting him in the chest. He would have went straight for the head like he does in our cut.
Maybe he didn't want to kil him.
Nah, that's not. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? He's shooting. You don't shoot to just aim people in the zombie apocalypse.
Oh,
yeah. So, Slack and Riley, they got some awkward sexual chemistry.
Yeah,
and then they all get arrested.
Yeah, I get arrested.
And Slack tells the boys that the big man Kaufman threw her in there in the first place because she'd been helping out Mulligan and his people. But Kaufman had found out. So Kaufman is the big bad that we were talking about that Cholo's been working for.
He's the big cheese. Yeah, he's played by Dennis Hopper as well, which is a dope, very, very prestigious actor. I've not seen him on a whole lot of stuff, but
Bowser.
Oh yeah.
This movie has Luigi and Bowser from the 90s Mario movie.
Yeah. Oh. What a return. Who would have guessed?
I adore that film, by the way. I think it's great. I really love it. After I watched the new Mario movie, I went back home and instantly watched the 90s one, and I was like, oh, this is so much better.
I have not seen either of them, fun fact.
Okay, all right. Well, he plays plays Bowser. Okay. And John Leguizamo plays Luigi Mario. So yeah, where was I? We find out that Riley wants to go to Canada, and again, this is where some of the characters end up in The Living Dead. So we also see Mulligan is being taken away by a bunch of guards.
Yeah,
because he's in the prison now as well, and we cut to the zombie horde. They're making their way towards the city, and Big Daddy is teaching the zombies as they go how to use tools like a butcher's knife to cut through a fence. He's picking up tools and giving them to the zombies, and they're like, huh? Let me look at this. Okay. They don't speak.
No. We're paraphrasing,
Yeah. We're paraphrasing grunts here. Yeah. So Cholo goes to see his boss, Kaufman, and Kaufman's chilling in the super fancy penthouse suite, and he's looking out of a window because he's a villain. And this is the second film in a row now where the bad guy is menacing, looking out of his penthouse suite at the city below him. Because we just had this with the mastermind in Oldboy. Yeah. Cholo says that he's there to help him out with anything he needs. And then we find out that Cholo is actually owed money by Kaufman. It's like 20 grand, 30 grand or something.
20, at least 20 grand.
Yeah. And he says that he's going to buy his own place with this money. But Kaufman is being a real dick about it. He's like, well, there's a long waiting list for places in the green. And then Cholo's suddenly like, oh, you're not going to let me live here, are you? And he's pissed. And he's like, I've been helping you do dirty jobs for 3 years. And their work relationship is over.
Yeah. Cholo, and that's where... Oh, sorry, continue.
Oh, I was just going to say Cholo's done being Kaufman's bitch now, basically.
Yeah, because that's where I was saying earlier on about when he's disposing of the bodies that we're led to believe. Because when he talks about I've done anyone you've wanted got rid of, or I cleared out. So
he's been murdering people for Kaufman.
He has not just taken care of the zombies at this point, but we can speculate that he's also been just any people unsavory to Kaufman that he wanted taken care of.
He's been taking out Kaufman's rivals.
Yeah, and there's another little interesting tidbit when Cholo first starts pouring the champagne. He pours them into regular glasses, And Kaufman also almost looks at it like on him with disdain, and he actually returns and re-pours the champagne into a proper glass. Then it's just it's the show that the social the commentary on the differences between
different
these
classes,
two,
the
different social classes, classism, is that a word? Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's the different classes. It's okay. That's cool. That's cool.
And then the last bit I have here is Coffin's one of his armed security comes in, and his suit, bro, it's grey and it's very stylish, and it just resembles it, like it's so again ham-fisted. It reminds me so much of just SS military gear.
It looks like a Nazi suit. Okay. Okay. I didn't get these things, but they are very, very heavy, aren't they? They're very in your face. Okay. So, by the way, that guy's a chump. That security guy. Like, Cholo's too cool to die.
Yeah. Bless you.
Sorry, guys. Cholo's far too cool to die to some chump like this, That's not how Cholo's going out. So, yeah, Kaufman has sent his security to take care of Cholo, and Cholo, he just kills him. He finishes him pretty fast. And then he decides that he's going to go take Dead Reckoning, and he's going to get his soldiers, and we don't know his plan just yet, but we know what he's going to do. So he then has like an old permission slip to use Dead Reckoning, the truck, and he gives it to a soldier. And the soldier is actually Alan Van Sprang, and he plays the main character in Survival of the Dead, and he has a tiny role in Diary of the Dead. So, this reminds me as well. Survival is directly connected to Diary. For the first time, a character is directly, like, it's literally the same character. It's not like some license bullshit. It's actually the same guy. So you could maybe headcanon it, where if this is the future of Diary and Survival, this is where this guy ends up working as a soldier here. Yeah.
And this whole army is just full of idiots.
Yeah, because the guy's like, hey, this is from like yesterday, and Cholo's like, oh, they must have got the date wrong or something. And then there's a gunshot, and Cholo's like, what the hell was that? And the soldier is like, nothing, man, just target practice.
Yeah.
And then we see like the wall guards, and one of them's like, what's that scratching noise? And the other guy's like, I don't hear any scratching. And then they turn around, and then Big Daddy wrecks him.
Yeah.
And
they don't hear Big Daddy just wander up, like they do this like dramatic pan with the searchlight, and then
there's lots of 2000s jump scares in this, you know, and this is where I actually like laughed out loud here, because once Big Daddy like grabs them and the guy starts screaming, then Cholo's like, so what the hell is that? Screaming practice?
God, what a line! Oh my God.
Yeah.
So cheesy.
And then I rewound it, and then I closed my eyes and I listened to that again and imagined it was Sid the Sloth saying it.
Yeah.
So Cholo's guys are going to take the opportunity to leave with the van whilst Big Daddy's horde is breaking into this like facility, which is outside of the city compound, right?
Yep, it is.
Big Daddy also realizes here that he can shoot guns. Because he shoots a gun and he gets like angry and clenches his fist while he's holding the gun, right? And he shoots it down into the ground, I think. And they're evolving. And but then the very next like shot is we see that the zombies are eating people's eyeballs and fingers.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, maybe they're not evolving too much. Right.
Yeah.
So Big Daddy's figured out that he can use guns, but then the zombies around him are still animalistic cannibals. Although Big Daddy groans, and he's like, they've got work to do, and the zombies stop eating the people, and they get up and they all start marching towards the city again. So. Yeah, maybe they are getting past it. In The Living Dead, there comes a point where the zombies do just stop hungering for human flesh, which is cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really well done. You'll get to it if you check it out. So this is where the movie really lost me when I saw it for the first time. Yeah, no worries, Bex. Bex is just resetting his mic. He's having some technical difficulties.
Oh, okay.
So, hey, yo, bro, welcome back in.
Okay. My headset died and shit, so I just had to try and sort it out.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to ask you, I'm glad you're back, Bex, for this, because I was just saying, this is where the movie completely lost me when I first watched it, and I was wondering if this is where you clocked out. But Cholo calls Kaufman and demands $5 million, or he says he'll use Dead Reckoning to blow up his tower. And when I first watched this film, I was just like, why is actual money still being used in the apocalypse instead of like supplies?
That's true.
Trading like things that you need. And
I kind of didn't mind it.
We know that there are different civilizations around, there are different settlements, and do they all use dollars? Like, it just doesn't make too much sense to me.
I suppose if they've gotten into the high tower life, they've probably brought money back as some kind of bringing it back to the real world kind of thing. So I didn't really double think about it.
Okay. Well, I didn't mind it too much on this watch, but that was what first. I really I disliked that when I first saw the film. So now Riley gets taken out of jail because Kaufman wants him. Kaufman knows that Cholo's taken Dead Reckoning, and Charlie tells Slack that Riley had once pulled Charlie out of a fire, and that's how he got his face burnt. And this is why Charlie loves Riley and wants to protect him, basically, because he owes him his life. And they almost have like a of mice and men relationship as well. You know, I said a bit like Chewbacca earlier, but I don't know. Charlie's not dumb though.
No.
Although he does say that he's stupid a lot.
He's very negative on himself. Yeah,
he is.
This whole thing.
Yeah. He's also kind of a caricature as well. Yeah. So Kaufman wants Riley to get the truck back from Cholo, and Riley takes a deal that he'll do that as long as he's given a car, ammunition, and his friends.
Yeah.
And Kaufman's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Whatever, I don't care.
Yeah. Cholo leaves a guy called Mouse by himself to pick up the ransom money.
At the port on his own. Mouse the skateboarder, he's just left there.
I just wrote Mouse is so gonna die. And Kaufman is sending 3 soldiers to help out Riley and the gang. We have Manolette, Motown, and my favorite, Pillsbury.
Yeah.
Pillsbury is a tank.
My God.
He is huge. He's awesome.
He's a big boy.
Yeah. So Charlie shows Slack that he's a beast of a shot, you know, by like, he shoots like a zombie that's like right next to her and she freaks out. And then later on, she does the same thing to him, but like skims his face. You don't want to be doing that in the apocalypse, guys.
No.
Anyway, it's cool for a scene, I suppose.
When we're introduced to Minolette, Motown, Pillsbury, that's where there's more. I'm not going to actually say the word, but there's more edgy 2000s dialogue in that.
Yeah, it's quite edgy there.
But there's just more of this Riley. Oh God, I just have it here. He really. She asks him about.
Sorry, you cut out. I don't know if I've just disconnected, guys, and nobody can hear me. Hello? Are we
you're
back?
there.
We're back.
You're back.
Sorry, what did you say? You completely cut out. I think my internet went.
Oh, okay. Slack is asking Riley, it's like about Charlie's relationship with him, or their relationship, and she's like, he really looks after you, doesn't he? And Riley's like, he does. Without his guns, I'd be dead by now. And then she's like, without you, he'd be dead by now. And he just looks at her dead in the eyes, and he's just like, fair trade. And I'm just like, by this point, I'm so over Riley's character. I think this is where
that makes sense to my notes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have here. It lines up to what he's just said between the points. Every bit of dialogue here is like somebody's trying to say a cooler line than the last person.
Yeah. And I'm
And
just
it's
like, yeah.
so annoying.
Like, I think that's the last time I actually. Oh no, I thought it was my last edgy dialogue from Riley, but no, I've got tons more. Oh,
You know, this was the time of like the Triple X movies and Vin
it was.
Diesel films. You know, like
Every anti-hero had to be, like badass one-liners. You know,
yeah, this is so off its time.
that's so of its time.
Oh, is this the first? This is the first, like, when did Fantastic Mr. Fox come out? I know it's a completely different kind of movie.
2009, 2008.
Oh, so that's still in the 2010, in the 2000s, 2000s. All right, cool. Now, where are we? Riley finds the survival of the dead guy, but now he's all zombified. And
the base is overrun.
Yeah, because him and is it Manolette, they go to get a gun to attach to the truck that they're going to take. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the base is overran. And this might be the coolest scene in the film. Once they get back with the gun, Manolette is like sitting in the truck, and a zombie puts his hand on Manolette's shoulder, and he turns around and he sees a headless zombie. But it turns out his head is actually hanging from like a fleshy thread behind him. And the zombie then swings his body forward, which swings his head. And the head bites him.
Yeah. The CGI is atrocious.
But it's so cool. I love it.
The idea is sound, but my God, Seb.
We know, yeah, and then the head flops backwards, and I forget who it was, but then they shoot through the zombie's chest, and it pierces the head on the other side, and it's so
Charlie,
metal.
Yeah. Oh, it's that bit is cool, like shooting for the chest because he knows where the head is. But Manolette sees the priest. It's a priest zombie, and his dialogue is just like, "Oh God." And I'm just like, oh, this is like this whole section. Yeah, there's a weird. I don't know if this has been established in George's thing, but there's I think it's not a plot hole per se, but it's a goof. When Manolette and Riley find the old base leader, he's eating his own wrist or something like that, or he's gnawing on his own bone in his arm. Right. They put him down.
Yeah.
And in that warehouse, there's just a ton of other zombies that are just eating away. Like, would the gunshot not have alerted any of them at all? Or am I overthinking?
Oh, they just shot right outside right by those guys, yeah? And then they're like, no, be silent, yeah?
Yeah, the zombies. The zombies are just silently eating. Then,
I just feel like this movie wasn't as solidly edited together as his previous films.
It wasn't as tight. Like tightly just shot. Like,
in fact, that is something that I loved about all of the previous movies is that every scene follows on and makes sense from the previous. I just love how straightforward everything is, and there doesn't seem to be any too many inconsistencies.
Yeah.
But just there's a lot of little things like that in this film. Yeah, I really like that headless. There was a Star Wars, I don't know if it's I think it was a Star Wars book I read years ago, and it was they had zombies in it. I can't remember the name of it. It was maybe it was Star Wars Red Harvest. You know how the original title was Blue Harvest? Well, this was that was the working title. This is Red Harvest, and not the original title. They used Blue Harvest because they didn't want to say that they were filming a Star Wars sequel, because then people would charge them lots of money. Okay, sorry, I just needed to get that out of the way. Corrections. Okay. So Red Harvest was the name of one of the zombie books they did, and in it, a guy is fighting a zombie Sith, right? Okay. And the zombie Sith gets his head cut off, but then he grabs his head and he throws it at the guy he's fighting, and bites the guy who just cut his head off. And I remember thinking, that's the coolest fucking thing ever right there. That's so badass. And that's kind of like this. I think that's great. Zombie projectiles is terrifying, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Riley tells Slack that he had to shoot his little brother when he got bit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then Slack shoots Manolette because they're like, yeah,
he was dead. Yeah.
And this is why Riley's like such a dick, I suppose. Why he's so doesn't care about anything, because he's said the entire movie is like, yeah, nothing bad's ever happened to me, and then Slack's like, this is cheesy dialogue. Slack's like, I thought you said nothing bad happened to you, but your brother, and he goes, yeah, that wasn't to me. It's so bad.
I can think of like just every cutting edgelord dialogue is just like, I just feel Riley's gaze upon me. It's just like, he's like, she's like, I thought you said nothing bad ever happened to you. That happened to my brother. It's just like, and its delivery is just so like, raspy and like whispery, and it's just like, he just has no emotion in any of his dialogue. Yeah, fuck Riley, by the way. Yeah,
fuck Riley. So right, they're like, how are we gonna find the truck? And Riley's like, I've got a homing device. And this is like the time in movies where they didn't say GPS yet.
Yeah.
So everything's just called a homing device.
Or a tracking device, isn't it?
Yeah. And we find out that Riley actually wants to take Dead Reckoning for himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like win-win. He gets to save the city and he gets to drive away with Dead Reckoning and go live his own life, you know?
Yeah.
So Mouse is listening to some banger 2000s tunes. Why did they leave him by himself? And why is he listening to fucking music when he's supposed to be a lookout and there's zombies everywhere? And he's on a skateboard.
Yep.
And of course, he gets snuck up upon and he gets eaten by a zombie clown. And the zombie clown looked great. Yeah. It looked fantastic. So the dead have now gotten to the water between the city. And they're like, oh, well, we can't go any further. But then Big Daddy's like, fuck it, and he just walks into the water, and Big Daddy then appearing, like coming out of the water on the other side with his horde, is like, that's the poster shot right there, and that's also some extremely cool imagery.
Okay,
so we've got the rich people are now planning to leave Fiddler's Green because they're afraid that Cholo's going to shoot the tower down with Dead Reckoning, and none of them know that the zombies are there yet.
No.
Cholo's going to shell it from a hill. Riley's on his way to stop it. And all of this time, the zombies are going there. And now they've gotten into the city.
Yeah.
Kaufman's loading up his money. Pillsbury and Motown are with Riley. And Riley tells them what he's going... He tells them his plan.
Yeah.
And he's like, you guys are with me or not with me. And then Motown looks at Pillsbury and winks at him, and Pillsbury winks back at Motown, but then Pillsbury just knocks her the fuck out, and he's like, I like you, Riley. It's not, I like this guy.
I thought that, there's multiple ways to interpret that, because
I think we just disconnected.
And they leave her
Sorry,
behind.
Steve, you just completely cut out again, man.
I don't know who this is, because you cut out for me a second ago as well.
I don't know who it is.
Should we do our 2-hour break and reset the call?
Oh, that's a good show, actually.
Hey, we are coming towards the big third act. We should do that. All right. Well, let me just finish saying what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
Oh, you finished saying what you were saying. What were you saying about?
Yeah, it does. Like Riley tells Motown and Pillsbury like what the plan is. They're either with him because he knows that they're on Kaufman's payroll, and they probably have different. They have a different objective to what he has. So it's like, you're either with me or you can get out here and walk or something like that. And then Pillsbury punches Motown, but I always interpret that as he's knocking her out, so she gets left behind, and then she can like ambush Riley and Cholo later on.
That's how you interpreted. That's not at all. No, because he's like, he's like, no, I like this guy, and then he sends Charlie off to go and help out. Riley.
Yeah, because Pillsbury joins up. Yeah, he joins up with them.
But Pillsbury like instantly switches sides. He has no allegiance to Kaufman at all.
No.
Yeah. All right. Okay. On that note, we'll be back in a few seconds. It'll feel like no time at all to you guys.
No time at all.
Yeah, we'll take a little break and we'll be back. And we're back. So Riley walks out in front of Dead Reckoning, and Cholo just lets him in. And Cholo knows that Kaufman sent him. So we get a scene of the zombies in the streets. Big Daddy is showing his guys how to use guns now, and we get some pretty gruesome deaths.
Yep.
Riley disables the van, and then Motown shoots Cholo before getting her face ripped off. She's back and she shoots Cholo. Okay. Now, Riley has the van, and we then cut to Kaufman, and he shoots one of the guys who is like working for him.
No reason, by the way.
But, well, yeah, he thinks that they're leaving Fiddler's Green because Riley's plan has failed, but it hasn't. He's just too impatient, so he kills that guy, for no reason. And then the city starts blowing up. Are the zombies blowing up the city?
Mm-hmm. Yep, somehow.
Okay, and then Cholo decides he doesn't want to help out. So Riley's completely taken over, and Riley's like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to save the city. You're not going to blow it up because, like, that'll kill loads of innocent people, but now there's zombies there, so we're going to use Dead Reckoning to save the city. And Cholo's like, nah, I'm out.
Nah, I'm good. But I'm going back to the city, but I'm good. I'm not going to help you save it, but I'm going back to it. He doesn't want to help. He's going to take Riley's car with his mate while the rest of them go. I don't even think he was going back to the city. I thought they were just going to leave. Mm-hmm.
But Cholo, it's because Cholo gets bitten in the next scene. Yeah. Right? That's it. So now we see like the zombies rampaging through the city.
Mm-hmm.
And there he is, Tom Savini.
Yep.
Tom Savini as a zombie, and he's more swole than ever.
Yeah.
He's put on muscle.
Yep. He's angry. This is he's literally on screen for all of 20 seconds. He walks towards the camera. If that killed some dude. My headcanon is that's his character from Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. They couldn't call it, what was he called in that movie? Blades or something like that. They couldn't call him that because they don't have the rights. But yeah, it's the same. It's the same.
It's basically character. Blades. It's him. Sergeant Rhodes, by the way, is turning in his grave, watching how useless these are. Literally some of the worst soldiers I've ever seen. You know, like one guy pulls a pin on his grenade, Seb goes to throw it, and then the butcher zombie just slices his arm off.
Slices his arm off, yeah.
And he falls on top of the grenade.
He does. He gets his arm sliced off and he instantly just falls on top of the grenade and blows up, which keeps the butcher zombie alive, I think, because he took the blast of the grenade.
Sergeant Rhodes would be disgusted with this performance.
Yeah, you really miss Rhodes when you're watching this, you know?
Yeah.
You miss these characters.
You do.
I like Cholo. I think he's the best character in it because he's the most character in it, and he's the best actor in it. Yeah. Everybody else seems to kind of be phoning it in, except for
John
Leguizamo. I was trying to remember his name. Yeah.
Everyone else just feels so paper thin, like they're just so one-dimensional.
Yeah.
But Cholo actually gives his character some depth.
It's true. And then so he gets bitten, and then he, like, his friend is like, "You want me to take you out?" And he goes, "Nah, I always wanted to see how the other half lives."
Yeah.
And he might be the only guy in a zombie movie who chooses to allow himself to become one, you know?
Yeah, considering we were talking about Dawn earlier about when who was bitten, and
Roger wants to, I think is it Roger? Is that
Roger? Peter. Roger, I think, is bitten, and Peter like offers to.
Yeah, and he's like, "No, I'm going to try not to come back." That was his thing. I would try really hard. So, but yeah, like Cholo is just interested. He's like, "Fuck it, I'll be a zombie."
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. So, Big Daddy then picks up a power drill. And the rest of the zombies all pick up different equipment as well, like tools and stuff. So the entire movie is the zombies walking towards the city, just picking up different things. So they're marching towards the tower. Cholo's mate I think it's called Fox. He drives off in the car, and we're actually going to get a spin-off where he meets up with the two guys from Ferris Bueller, who stole that car, and they're going to have a race.
No, seriously, one of your favorite movies of all time, Beckham, a crossover with this movie?
Two of my favorite movies of all time. Crossing over, crazy experience.
Yeah. The three guys just like going on a road trip through North America. Yeah.
So the zombies have now broken into the tower. Riley and the gang, they get to a bridge that needs lowered, and Slack asks Pretty Boy, who's the driver. Again, it's just these names because the driver's a girl. Yeah. How do you work this thing about Dead Reckoning's like guns and controls? And she says it's just like a video game because there's a joystick.
Yeah,
and growing up watching these movies, and like this happened a lot in the 2000s, right? Like people would say that, and it's always a glow stick with like not a glow stick, a fucking a joystick with like a button on the top. The controllers as we have them now have existed for a very long time, right?
Long time, yeah.
at least, I mean, the Mega Drive had like that tiny thing with like your two buttons or whatever, but it wasn't a fucking joystick. Like joystick to me is like somebody, like an old person's idea of video games. You know what I mean? That's what that screamed to me anyway.
Yep.
So Riley almost gets bit, but uses the bridge coming down to decapitate a zombie, and that's pretty badass. That's pretty awesome. And then Dead Reckoning uses the sky flowers to distract the zombies in the city once they get in, but that doesn't work either.
No, they've learned to ignore them because people are trying to flee, but the fences, of course, are still electrified.
They can't get out. What was keeping them safe on the inside is now keeping them stuck in there. They can't get out.
Which is a throwback to an earlier interaction between Charlie and Riley, and it's it's another edgy line that I have written previously. It's like Riley goes to Charlie, "You're worried about being locked out. But you see that? I can't help but feel that we're locked in." It just makes my skin crawl, man. Because they talk about the electrical fences, and it's just like,
so
makes me wince.
Yeah, Kaufman and Big Daddy, they see each other in like the lobby or something off Fiddler's Green, and Kaufman shoots at Big Daddy, but he misses because Kaufman sucks, or he misses his head anyway. I think he hits him, but Big Daddy's swole.
He just keeps shouting, "You have no right" at Big Daddy, and I'm just like, what does that mean?
Does he actually? Oh
yeah,
God.
He's so upset at the zombies for invading Fiddler's Green, and he just keeps saying they have no right. No.
So then Kaufman and his servant. They go down to the car park. Maybe it was earlier in. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I skipped over it. But at one point, Kaufman earlier in the film is like, somebody asks him if he's gonna like give him the ransom money, and it's like, no, we don't negotiate with terrorists. And it's like, oh, all right, it's very George Bush, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, they go down to the car park, and after Resident Evil 2 remake, like car parks are actually a pretty scary place in a zombie apocalypse. You know, his servant I hate saying that. It's awful, isn't it? Yeah. Nip runs away, and Big Daddy starts like breaking the glass of Kaufman's car with like a fuel pump, and then he starts filling the car with petrol. Right?
Feels like a nice throwback to Night of the Living Dead, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But then he walks away, and you're just like, well, why is he walking away? Right? Kaufman starts loading his gun, but then he's shot at, and there's a silhouette in the car park coming towards him. And then he shoots at the silhouette, and it turns out it's Cholo. And then Kaufman calls him a racial slur, of course.
Yep.
And then shoots him again. But Cholo's a zombie, and Cholo grabs him and then Big Daddy rolls like a canister of
propane tank.
A propane tank. All right, and it's on fire, and that hits the car and then blows Kaufman and Cholo up. So they're dead now.
Beckham, sure. Yeah, I think we've passed the point where he checked out. Like,
yeah, Bex, where did you check out, man? What?
There was a point when all four of these stories were starting to cross over, and it was like 5 minutes a scene. They start switching between them, and I just was like, I don't care anymore.
Like jumping between,
Like I had Riley's story, we had Coffin trying to get out of the building, we had Cholo doing stuff, we had the zombie storyline, and there was literally like a sentence said by characters, and then it switched to the next scene, and then it switched back to a scene, and then it switched to Kaufman. And at that point, I was just like, "There's too much going on, and it's just getting too much," and I just genuinely lost so much interest in it.
It became narrative whiplash. Yeah, it just jumped between. Nobody really. We couldn't really have a moment to let the scenes breathe, to realize the weight of what was going down, because it would just jump between four different perspectives: Kaufman, Big Daddy, Cholo, and Riley. You know, it's like,
maybe this is why I love Diary so much, because it sticks with like a core group. Because Diary is completely shot differently because it's found footage, so it's all first person from like two cameras.
Yeah.
So they never have the ability to really leave each other. You know what I mean? Like it's the group are always together, and there's none of this jarring cutting.
Like the last. Oh no, it's not. Sorry, I was going to lie and tell you that this is the last dialogue I'd written down. But when Coffin's like, he shoots Cholo a few times, Cholo gets back up and then approaches him, and Coffin's like, "Nah, you're dead." And then it reveals that he's turned, and then Coffin's just like, "Oh my god, you are dead." And
that's good. That's good.
That made me laugh. That was the last time I laughed.
That's good shit. Okay, so by the time Dead Reckoning reaches the city, the people have already been eaten and they're like dead, right? Yeah. And this would be like early George's. He would have it. That's it. Right? Yeah. They failed. The heroes failed, and I'm like, oh, I like that. And then they decide to fire the rockets into the horde.
Mm-hmm.
But once they do that, then a bunch of survivors come out onto the streets.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, they were all okay. And I'm like, oh, I preferred the old edgy George A. Romero, or the young edgy George A. Romero compared to
where his endings always had a bit of levity to them, and you weren't sure like if things were going to work out or not, or in some cases definitely didn't work out.
Less levity and more dark, more nihilistic. And
nihilistic.
Yeah. So, yeah, the survivors are okay, and then
Mulligan is alive.
Mulligan's alive, and he's like, "Hey,
Mulligan,
Riley, stay with me. Let's build up the city again, and we're going to make it new." And Riley's like, "Won't it just turn into what this city turned into?" And Mulligan just straight up is like, he's not like, "No, we'll do it better." He's just like, "Oh no, we'll find out.
Yep,
we'll see." So then we've got one more jump scare. In the truck, like somehow a zombie gets in there, but Pillsman takes care of him.
Yep.
And then
it was the zombie earlier that night where it was missing its legs and was just holding on to the back of Dead Reckoning.
It just climbs up. Good continuity, George. Good stuff. Yeah. And then Riley sees Big Daddy and his zombies like walking just past the city. Yeah, because their job is done. And they're like, "Now let's not shoot them." And this is another bit of edgy dialogue where he's like, they're just looking for a place to go, same as us. And they decide not to shoot them.
Yeah, Pretty Boy is like, "Yeah, should we?" And he's like, "Nah."
And then they fire off the last of the sky flowers, the fireworks, because they're not useful anymore. And they head to Canada in Dead Reckoning. And that's how the movie ends.
And scene.
That's it.
Yep.
God, describing what happened in that movie, really, it's not as fun as the previous. It's not as good as the previous ones at all. Like, I'm so flip-flopping on this because I actually really did enjoy myself watching it this time. But I can totally understand how it's not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't.
Just before we get into our opinions on this, let me just tell you guys that Road of the Dead was going to follow Dead Reckoning's crew
Okay.
but they didn't have the rights to any of the characters. So I don't know how they were going to do that. And it was going to have Big Daddy's Horde are still after Dead Reckoning's crew for some reason.
Oh.
Even though at the end of this, they don't
part
care
ways.
about each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea was Big Daddy was still trying to go out for revenge against the humans. But because Dead Reckoning are in a truck and they're on their way to Canada, Big Daddy would then teach the Horde how to drive cars, and they would drive the cars up to Canada to chase Dead Reckoning.
Becky, you want to respond to that? I can't find the words.
I have nothing to say to that. That sounds fucking awful. It doesn't even follow the end of this shit show. How is it going to make a better shit show?
If you want a movie where it's like a few characters going across like a zombie wasteland, by the way, or like an apocalyptic wasteland, check out Stakeland if you haven't seen it. It's a fantastic vampire movie where they're basically zombies, but they call them vampires. And it's a guy and a kid, and they have to make their way across. It's a bit Last of Us-y. If you like The Last of Us, you probably enjoy it. But it's like low budget, and I think it's off this time period as well. But it's just very well done. I love it. Stakeland, check it out. And then there was a sequel called Stakelanders, which I've not seen yet. I need to watch that. Yeah, guys. So, where would you guys rate this in terms of the dead movies we've seen?
Yeah.
Are we all putting this at number 4 so far?
Number 4.
Yeah.
Number 4. Yeah. I wish but it's weird because, in numerical order, it's first, second, third, and then fourth comes immediately after. Imagine first, second, third, and then just like a canyon between third and fourth. Yeah. Like it's fourth by default because we haven't watched the other two yet, but it's so far behind. What did I rank as third? Dawn for me.
Yeah, Dawn for you.
I went night, day, dawn.
This is so far away from Dawn, right?
Yeah. Like even the things that it does, the concept, the idea was so fascinating. Just the execution was just completely muddled. Like you said, you could have Riley's whole arc could have been completely removed from this movie, and it would have nothing would change, and you probably would have got a little bit more depth into Cholo and Kaufman's because then it would have been just Cholo versus Kaufman.
If it was Cholo versus Kaufman, I think that's a better movie. And then I think that you've got a stronger protagonist, somebody who is like, he's not quite good, he's not quite fully evil, although he might actually be he is a murderer as far as we know, but that's a more interesting character to follow, right? Just fuck Riley.
Fuck Riley. Like you could have taken slack out of it as well. Like I found her character.
Kaufman is the thing. They're all just caricatures. They're not like caricatures. They don't seem like real people. The world feels realistic in a sense, but the people in it don't feel real. I think that's the issue. Yeah.
And that's why George gets plaudits for his world building. But his characters in the previous 3 movies have all, in some way, been likable, relatable.
It's true, yeah. You can understand their points of view.
Yeah. But Cholo's probably the only one, and Coffin's he's an over the top character or villain. Like he's horrid. He's just a hard individual.
People love. Is it Dennis Hopper who plays Kaufman?
Yeah.
People laud him very much, but my experience with him is that he played Bowser in Mario, and he plays Kaufman in this.
That's my experience with him.
Yeah,
actually, not even Bowser, just this.
And
I'm just like, I always think of him as just like he's the douchey racist rich guy,
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what he is in Mario as well. He's racist against people who evolved from apes because he's a lizard.
Yeah. That's a lot to unpack. No, Land of the Dead, not good. Sorry, Hilla. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off now. Yeah,
I had more fun with it than I have previously. I don't think it's the worst, but I understand the criticisms.
Which our survival or day, which you think is like, which one did you say is just almost irredeemable? Is it Diary?
No, okay, so I love Diary.
Okay, so survival.
Survival is real bad.
Real bad.
From my memory. I think
Okay.
I've seen it twice because I don't really enjoy it very much. Maybe I've only seen it once, actually. Anyway, I remember it being pretty bad.
Okay.
Whereas Diary, I've probably seen Diary. I've probably seen Dawn the most now because I just watch it all the time. I love Dawn, but it was Diary. Like, yeah, we'll get to Diary eventually, and that'll be cool. And I think some of the same problems from this in terms of like dialogue come up, but the characters are just much more likable, and it's a better story because it's a road trip story, which maybe this should have been. You know, this could have been a really cool road trip story about the Dead Reckoning.
Yeah. Make that the star. Make them have them on the road, have them doing their raids, and just you could have so many ways you could have so many ways you could have took this movie.
Yeah, in Fear the Walking Dead, once Fear the Walking Dead became bad because they fired the showrunners and writers and replaced them with a new cast, in season 4 they brought in like a big SWAT van that has all of these guns on it. It's a bit like Dead Reckoning. But the issue is it's just like constantly like being stolen somehow by people all the time, and they just don't know how to use a tank in the apocalypse. But it's a pretty cool idea. Like if you had this, you would be set for life if you had Dead Reckoning. Like, what's gonna fuck with you? You know?
Yeah. Because it shows how impenetrable it's got guns. There's another like nasty scene where when Riley's trying to load the drawbridge, all the walkers are just they're trying to get in, and their fingernails are just like shredding off the metal.
Like
that.
It's got like cameras inside as well with like night vision and stuff. Like, it's a pretty badass truck. Yeah.
Like
I think it's my favorite thing about the movie is Dead Reckoning. Dead Reckoning is the coolest thing. There was also another game called Dead Reckoning that was a fucking Java mobile game for your old Nokia phones, and that looks like dog shit as well. I'm really disappointed that I can't play the game because the game looks like I would really enjoy it. I like the concept. You'll have to let me know how it goes, Steve, when you
for sure
when you play that.
I'll stream it at some point. Yeah.
Any thoughts, Bex? End of the film.
Yes, let it all out, please.
Bottom of the list.
Bottom of the list, yeah.
Bottom of the list. Not even close to any of the ones above it.
It sounds like you've become like Riley and become completely apathetic towards the film.
I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I didn't like any. Like, now even listening to being talked about, I was just like, that was fucking awful.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it. I'm sorry, Hillary. I am, but it's just not good. It's not my thing.
Oh, man. I think I need to be put in a padded room and I need to be studied because
this is your favorite.
This was my favorite, yeah.
You know, like, when you said that in episode 1, I was so excited to get to this movie, and even though I'm positive about it, I do feel a bit sad now because your opinion on it has changed, and Bex has had a shit time watching it. I'm just like, oh no, what have I done?
Like, my chest was out. The very first time we sat down to record Night of the Living Dead, I said my chest was out. My chest was full of pride, and I was like, "Yeah, Land is my favorite. I look forward to seeing how this may change things." Yeah. And then I did not imagine to flip this extreme, but no, I will. Like, we're kind of all in different sequences here, right? Like Beckham. It was not his thing. You enjoyed it. It was fun. And then whereas like I put it on a pedestal. Yeah. And while I don't think it still matches up to what I initially used to feel about it, it wasn't just a complete disaster.
You see it in context compared to the other films, and then you really realize what the deal is. And you know what? To spin this and to put it into like a nicer light. It's so cool that we've seen those other movies and that we can appreciate the true Kino that is the first 3 films, you know, appreciate how great those are. And it really puts into perspective how amazing those are when you have this by the same director, same writer coming in and years and years later, almost 40 years later or something, and he's making this now, like what, 35 years later or something like that. And it really shows that you live long enough, you die a hero, you live long enough to see yourself become a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If George got to make this, so the last one was 1985. If George got to make this, maybe because I know there's quite a gap between all the movies in terms of when they were released. If George got to make this in the 90s, like early 90s, let's say, I think this movie could have really fucked. I think where he still kind of like, he still had his ideas, and I'm not going to put it all on his shoulders either.
No, again, it's the studio interfering. Yeah, completely. And then, yeah.
You know, the times, he had to go with the times. You know, where in the modern millennium we've crossed the millennium era of cinema. A lot of things were up against this movie, and I just we'll always have.
All of his movies are like a time capsule of the time that they're from. Yeah. And like the next one is even more so. It's like, you know, late, like 20, like it's like 2010s, I think. But maybe it was 2012 it came out. But this one, maybe it's just that was a shit time, you know. It's no good. It's no good. For cinema, anyway. The good thing is, as I have repeated so many times, The Living Dead is just. We're lucky that it didn't end with this trilogy being bad. Like the true, we have all of his good movies, and then we have The Living Dead, which is the final, like as you said, the swan song to the zombie story that he was telling. And The Living Dead is one of my favorite books ever. I adore it. So
I gotta pick it up. I'm definitely gonna pick it up.
Put the audiobook into the chat. It'll be there for
you did, yeah.
Yes, listen to. You know what? I think they do a fantastic job of the audiobook. It's two different readers, and because it's split in between different characters all the time, like or different groups, it really helps you differentiate each group of characters. Yeah, it does start off a bit heavy-handed. It starts off very. You're in Trump's America when it's starting.
Okay.
Or like just pre-Trump's America, where people are like, there's quite a lot of wall imagery towards the end of the movie. So the book, the beginning of the book and the end of the book are kind of like, the writing's maybe not as strong there, but all the character stuff in between. Once you get past that first chapter, I think you can get into it. A lot of people got into it and they were like, this is way too woke, but it's just a character has some very like, woke, the way he thinks is very woke. So then when you move to another character, it's less like that, you know. Not that being woke is a bad thing, you know. It's just very socially aware, and some people are sick of that. You know. Yeah. Check it out. All right, that's done. Whose choice is it next for the movie? Is it Bex? Is it you? Do you want to tell us before we get into what we've been doing in our weeks?
You can. If you want me to.
You did say, depending on how this went, it's gonna be one of two movies. So I'm fascinated. Are you gonna tell us what the other movie was, or are you gonna leave us in suspense?
I can tell you what the other movie was because I'm not picking it, so I can go.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be really funny because of the Easter egg that was in this to pick Shaun of the Dead.
Oh,
I was like, it'll be really, really funny because the two guys are in it.
Shaun of the Dead.
No. And before I even say what I am picking, I'm apologizing to Clarel.
Just pick Shaun of the Dead.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm apologizing to Clarel. Clarel in your chat yesterday said, Bex, you're my savior. All these horror movies, you're picking my lovely movies. Clarel, I'm so sorry. I'm not picking a lovely movie this week. This week I'm picking the movie that's just as old as me, 1996's Trainspotting.
Oh.
That's what I'm going to pick.
Oh.
So, Clarel, I'm sorry because this movie is quite the opposite of a very happy movie.
Okay, I really wanted you to pick Shaun, but I love Danny Boyle and I've never seen Trainspotting. So
I want to just jump in as well and say that this is going to start a little mini series for me because there's a sequel that I will be covering for my next episode as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
Trainspotting
okay.
2?
Your shout. I'm going to be doing Trainspotting 1 and Trainspotting
We're
2
going
back
into
to back as my choices.
We are jumping into the world of Trainspotting
Yeah.
for your
Okay.
next two choices.
Yeah, because I like both of them evenly. I know there's a lot of talk about maybe the second one didn't need to be made. I think both of them together make a very good, complete story. So I want to cover both of them.
You know, eventually I
Ooh.
wanted to get to 28 Days Later, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe that'll come up. Oh, that's fascinating, Bex. That's
Sorry
incredible.
again, Clarel, if you've made this far. I feel so bad because I had it picked out. I had like both Sean and Trainspotting, and then Clarel's message yesterday is like, "Oh, all these scary horror movies,
What
Bex,
would've
you've been
made-
my savior."
What would have made you pick Shaun of the Dead?
If I didn't hate this, if I had have enjoyed Land, I would have been like, you know what, we'll keep it a bit of a cheery vibe, and I would have went with Sean. It's the fact I hated this. Now I'm just getting into the slumps. I'm going with Trainspotting because I know I love it.
Right, I would have thought it would be the opposite way. You know, if you had a really good time with this, now let's go.
If I'm
into
in the bin, we're
zone.
staying in the bin.
Well, I'm very excited for next week then because I've heard about Trainspotting my whole life. I've never had a reason to actually sit down and watch it other than like, hey, I like Danny Boyle, but also I've heard it's very dark, and I didn't want to go out my way to watch a dark, you know, like a movie like that.
Yeah, but I think you're buzzing at the moment.
Am I buzzing?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh.
Is that your phone, or is it just?
Oh my god, I am buzzing. There's interference from I've got a phone call.
Ah, okay.
Let me just.
I basically just cover it up that it is a very realistic movie. It's a very dark movie, and both of them cover two different type of stories. The first one is just to give the trigger warnings before they do come, is it's very heavy on drugs and misuse of drugs and the effects on people. And the second one is more about just what the effects of that can do to people's lives afterwards.
Okay.
So they get very deep.
Okay.
Very good movies though. Very, very good. Shot beautifully. Soundtracks are fucking amazing. Acting is great. So hopefully I'll get to do the 2 episodes and they'll be very fun.
Nice, yeah, definitely. and Shaun of the Dead, to anybody worried, Shaun of the Dead is definitely not off the table just because it's not
it'll come up.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead is too good to ignore. Like
one of the other things in my factors as well is like every title that Seb has of the Dead. So I was like, you know what? Let's get away from the of the Deads for my episodes. So that was another factor.
I love the of the Deads.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm really glad that you picked such a. I don't want to say strong movie because I've not seen it, but you know, such a famous, exciting movie. If you're not picking Shaun of the Dead, you know, if you'd said something like shit,
like Ready Player One.
Yeah, right. All right, guys, we're gonna do Shaun of the Dead, but instead we're gonna do Ready Player One. I would have shit the bed. You know, I would have
left the call. I would have left this call and let you two do the outro on your own. That's it. That's the truth. But hopefully, now I feel like I'm tempted to just poor Clarel. Like next time I see her, I'm just going to be like gaslighting her. It's like, oh yeah, you're going to love next week's episode. It's a real.
Don't do that, because then if she decides to watch it before the podcast, she's literally going to get into a slump.
Oh yeah.
You know the funny thing is, Bex, that if you'd picked Shaun of the Dead, Steve, you had an idea that you were maybe going to pick an Off the Dead film as well.
Yeah, we could have had 3 against you last night.
Well, I'm glad I steered away from it then. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Trainspotting. Never seen it myself either.
Oh, you've not seen it either?
No,
okay.
I'm ashamed actually because it's such an iconic piece, and it's like the story of it. It's like one of those things that if you haven't seen it, you know, it's another one of those movies. If you haven't seen it, at least you know kind of the beats. But me, in all my naivete, actually thought it was a movie about looking at trains. So I was like, that's boring. I never want to watch that.
There's a very good book as well if anybody's interested in reading. There's a very good book about Trainspotting as well.
Bex, I just showed you a movie you've never seen before and you hated it. What do you think I will feel about this film?
I feel it's going to be hard to not like it.
Okay.
It's one of those kind of movies. But again, if you don't, I get, because there is a lot in this, and I've picked up from the last couple of episodes that there's some visceral stuff. I know it's more torture stuff you guys don't like, but there's some visceral stuff in here that's a bit too realistic. Where I can see where when you guys are watching, you'll probably be a little bit off.
It's more like torture for the sake of it. If it's for the story, then that's okay.
I love the Saw movies, and that's pure torture porn.
Yeah, well, this hasn't got torture, and I'm not getting into that kind of shit. But there's some there's just some visceral visual shit that's like really real that I don't know, could rub some people the wrong way a little bit.
Okay.
But it is a very good movie. Trust, it is very, very, very good.
Oh,
and exciting. I know as well that my last episode I said I was going to pick something easy, but my brain doesn't work like that. I decided to pick Trainspotting.
You did say you were going to pick something easy.
I did, and I had so many different things. And then I was like, right, it's Shaun of the Dead.
Bex, this is perfect. This is perfect. I'm so excited. All right, sorry guys, I just got to quickly be right back. You guys continue. Okay. I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Okay, Steve.
Now it's just us. I'm trying to remember now, because I think what I hinted to before we went on our little break, I think I mentioned a good few movies that piqued both of your interests. So I'm thinking I'm going to go back to that little list, and I think I know what my movie. I know we're getting way too out of ourselves, but I'm so looking forward to Trainspotting next week, and I'm going to try and have just something locked by before we start recording that.
Once I just said, fuck it, I'm going to stick with the 2 Trainspotting, but once I get that done, I don't know what the fuck to do. I have literally no idea. I have to clear the 2 of these now, and then, God, where do I go? Do I go back to horror, maybe? Do I not?
Oh, yeah. I have no idea. I'm thinking my next one is going to be more lighthearted in tone. I think I'm going to take a step away. Shrek. Oh, don't tempt me! Don't tempt me! I can't wait to just be. I can't wait. I can't wait to just be the biggest villain ever of this podcast. Be like, actually, next week's episode for me, guys, is gonna be. We've talked about it many times on the podcast. We're actually we're doing it. We're doing it, guys.
I would love it. It'd be so funny.
I will shrivel up and die in the chair if I ever mention those words.
Anybody else that's gotten this far as well, let us know movies that you guys have ideas for and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, please.
Doesn't matter what kind of movie, whatever the hell you're thinking, your favorite cartoon from when you're growing up, where it's like 2 3D models that don't even have names just spinning around. Tell us it. We'll look at it. Whatever it is, we'll have a look.
We're open to all sorts of suggestions,
Oh, man. We might be talking about another random movie that has a sequel coming out soon. Who knows? I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but if you made it this far, Seb's not here to give out to me, so I said it.
Good point, actually. Good point.
There's possibly another one that isn't Trainspotting that we might talk about. Who knows at this point?
Yeah, watch your space. You just have to keep watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Follow us on Spotify. All the good stuff.
Yeah, rate it 5 stars. Post it in places. Talk on Twitter as well. If you use Twitter and you follow us, talk on Twitter. Twitter for some reason is getting a lot of traction, but most of it is bots. But that's a good sign on Twitter, I've been told, because the bots are finding your page. That means it's very public. So that's good.
Yeah, we're not being shadow banned or anything like that.
No. We're just getting a bunch of porn bots, and that's usually a good sign because, again, your page is now being opened up, so they'll find you. So that means we're out there. Chat.
We're out there. Yeah, We Know Kino Pod.
Hit us in the DMs with a bunch of suggestions too, or on Discords, or on streams, all the places.
All the good stuff. All
your ideas.
Oh,
sorry, I'm back. What's good, homies?
We were just telling everybody to chat to us in all the places like Twitter. We've become very open on Twitter lately because I said to Steve, the porn bots have started to find us on Twitter, so that means our page is very public right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh snap! The bots are out in force. Bex got bot raided the other day, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I got bot raided the other day on TikTok and Twitch.
Ooh, now I'm just waiting for my turn.
Yeah, you're up next.
I wonder why people do it though. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Not to hold Seb up on a high pedestal or say his situation is any little to mine, because it's basically the same. But for somebody who's smaller, where you get a bunch of people coming in, then you realize, oh, fuck. You know what I mean?
It's so
shit to do to somebody. You think, oh my god, it popped off, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's like 50 of them in one go. That's not real.
For me, it was 10,000 accounts.
Yeah.
And they all had like names as if somebody's just smacked their head on a keyboard. So I was pretty aware that it wasn't like actual people, but I have had it especially when I was a smaller streamer, like, oh wow, 50 people just followed all at once. This is so exciting. And there's like, oh no, it's just fucking bots. Somebody's being a dickhead. Yeah, I had that, and then a bunch of my videos just started gaining likes but no views on TikTok, like hundreds, and I was like, what the fuck is happening here? So I think I maybe pissed somebody off in Dead by Daylight, and then they maybe spent a bit of money and tried to get my accounts banned by spamming them. Yeah.
Reminds me, off recording, we're going to have a conversation about something to do with that as well.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to bring it up on recording because I don't want anybody to be freaking out, but we just reminded me.
Okay. Well, now I'm intrigued.
It'll be something different. Trust me, once we talk about it, I think you'll understand. But it's not a big deal. Nobody just listening needs to worry. We're not going to explode or disappear. It's just a behind the scenes thing, and that's all.
Okay. Well, for people in front of the scenes, what can they expect? Have you guys been talking about what you've been up to?
No, we were just chatting about talking to us and getting suggestions and tell us all kind of movies, everything.
Feedback, the usual. Hey, converse with us. You can leave comments on Spotify, YouTube. Find us on Twitter. Find us on stream.
Are like the most helpful on YouTube, and rating us on Spotify is the most helpful over there for the algorithms. So thank you everybody who does those. Thank you everybody who listens as well. Like, it's so lovely that people either take time out of their day or they've added us to their day, their commute, their work, just checking us out. It means the world to us. We just passed over 1,000 views or listens on YouTube since when we started.
That's crazy.
And that's really beautiful. That's fantastic. I was very happy to see that. That's so cool. So thanks, guys. Thanks for that.
Past 300 plays on Spotify as well yesterday.
Ooh,
wow. We're up to 305 now.
That's great. I think it was only last week we got to 200 for the first time, right? So
we're flying.
Something like that. That's great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Well, it's grassroots. We're just beginning. We're just figuring everything out as we go along. It's been so much fun to do.
10 episodes already. Still, like, even though we're still fresh, it's great though. 10 episodes so far.
I'm very excited that with Bex has announced his next 2 movies. So we're gonna have a finished series of movies with the Train Spine. That's so cool. Yeah. Oh, guys. Okay, so what are you guys been up to? What are you gonna be up to? What's occurring? What's new? Anything? Bex, it was your birthday. Wait, we've discussed your birthday. When did we record last? Was it before your birthday or after your birthday? It was after your birthday.
After my birthday.
How does it feel being older? Any different?
Right. Yes, instantly different. I feel like my entire body for the last week has decided to make me feel like I'm old. I've had 28. 28, yeah.
Yeah,
and I don't know what's going on this week.
It just hits guys, the back starts to creak.
Everything is just literally, and I've done nothing but sleep all week. It's like my body just goes, hey, remember all those years of not sleeping properly? We're getting it this week. We're catching up with it all now.
Yep. That's it. I mean, you more than any of it. Well, I don't know about maybe not Steve, but I think Bex, you pull the most like all nighters and stuff. Like I just can't do that anymore.
My body just doesn't know how to sleep. It's just crashing out on me this week. But I've kind of cleaned it up the last couple of days. I'm just saying it has gone a bit better.
Yeah,
it's okay.
You slept last night,
I slept a bit.
Okay.
I did get some sleep. I'm just getting a lot of really bad broken sleep where I wake up and then
struggled to sleep last night, guys. I've been.
He was so excited to talk to us.
To be fair, I am always like, I'll be lying in bed the night before and it'll be like 2-3 in the morning and I'll be like, oh, I should write this down so I don't forget it. And then I go on my phone and put the notes in and then I'm like, oh, now I've looked at my phone. now I can't. It like wakes you up, seeing the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh well, I may as well watch the YouTube video until I feel tired again, and then it's like, 2 hours later. Oh god.
Stayed up to watch a YouTube video, binge an entire Netflix series.
last night I was actually like going to bed, and I've been playing. Oh, this will lead us into what I've been doing. I've been playing some Rain World, right? And I spoke about it last week. It's just an incredible game, and I was like, okay, I'll just do one more cycle, and then I'll switch it off. And I did that cycle, and then I got a phone call, and I'm like, oh my god, I never get phone calls except for apparently today on the podcast and like just last night. And it was Zach, and I'm like, oh, it must be urgent. He's calling me on my phone. Normally, he would like send me a message on Instagram or hit me up on Discord. And I'm like, hey, dude, what's up? What's happening, man? Are you okay? And he's like, yeah, man, come play Rain World. I'm like, no, dude, I'm going off. I'm going to bed. And he's like, dude, I see you on Rain World right now. What? And I'm like, oh. So I jumped into his Discord, and I didn't play, but I watched him, and then I just got dragged away in watching him play, and I was there for like another hour. So it was very nice, though. It's my favorite game. I'm playing lots of that. I've been pretty busy this week. Over the weekend, I've got a friend who's just converted his garage into a new room, so I'm going to go help decorate with him. And then when I get back, I got to decorate my kitchen. I'm doing lots of painting and decorating, guys. That's. So I will be listening to our podcasts while I'm doing all of this. So that'll be cool.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. That's. I think that's me. That really just lots of Rain World, lots of streaming. Oh, I've been going ham on TikTok as always. I have been up and down on that because I've been shadow banned, and I've been released from my shadow ban, and I've been botted on stream. I was very excited. I was about to get to 10,000 followers on Twitch, and then I got botted by another 10,000 followers. So now it's exciting because I'm about to hit 20,000 followers on Twitch. So
suffering from success. Oh my god.
Yeah. That's me. What about you guys? What have you been up to?
Well, I'm still waiting patiently. Thanks to Beckham last night, I found out that Longlegs is coming to video on demand today on my birthday. So I've been holding off watching it all this time because I was too lazy or
you
just
didn't
time.
Just say today on my birthday, did you?
The day of my birthday.
Okay, I was like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, it's my birthday, guys. Today, by the way. But no, yeah, Longlegs is coming to video on demand the day of my birthday, so I've been gooning myself waiting to watch it for so long, and I should have just went to the cinema to see it, but I was lazy and times never kind of like really worked out. So I'm looking forward to that. Still,
it's good atmosphere. You switch your lights off and get cozy. I think you'll really have a nice time with it.
Still watching Drifters. The anime is very good, and still playing Resident Evil. I hope to, doing a bit more, hoping to do a bit more streaming. I really want to start. I'm going to make a TikTok account at some point this weekend. Just start trying. Finally, I'm just going to give for the final embers of summer before I head back to uni. Yeah. I really want to make a go of just like putting some good content out there. As well fantastic. As of course, yeah.
Well, TikTok's been a lot of fun, and dude, the reach is massive. I've been spent the past 3 weeks posting on YouTube and TikTok, and across both of them, I've managed to reach like 50,000 new people.
Wow.
So like, I hope it translates to people coming through, but like, yeah, like give it a good push, and who knows, like the what could happen. It's all exciting.
Okay.
Go for that. If you need any help as well on Premiere Pro, I've been doing a lot of TikTok stuff on there. I can walk you through anything. Just hit me up.
I still have my Creative Cloud from uni, so I've been like, I've got a few programs here that I fiddle with, tinker with,
Yeah.
Appreciate that though. Beckham.
Ha. I don't really know what I've been doing. I've not been doing an awful lot. I've not even watched an awful lot of movies. It's just kind of been a quiet week. Enjoying Deadpool and Wolverine all over social medias because it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to see the backlash coming now. You know,
Yeah,
it's coming.
Oh.
I mean, I said it when the film came out. Like, I understand that it's not a great movie. I think it's just a very fun movie and it's a fun experience. In the same vein as like the Spider-Man one with Doctor Strange. I feel like it's just one of those where it's more like you go in for the experience and you have a good time, but yeah, you think about it too much, it's going to completely fall apart. That's the way I see it.
Speaking of, actually, someone said Quiet Week. I watched the new Quiet Place movie this week as well. Not good.
Oh, I was just about to say, I'm going to watch that this week. Okay.
The first one is good. The second one is very average. The
second one was dog shit. I was so disappointed. It got Cillian Murphy in it as well.
Yeah, and you ruined them. The third one is better than the second one, which wouldn't be difficult, but still plays it very, very safe. I
love Lupita Nyong'o, so I was excited.
She's great in it. Her and Joseph Quinn are, they carry pretty well. But for the new location that we had and what they could have done with the story, it's just like, they played very safe.
Okay. Yeah, director of Pig, right? Who did that?
Yep.
I didn't really like that movie too much. So it seemed like a weird choice for me to get that director in to do a Quiet Place movie, but yeah. You've been they've started. There's a chainsaw outside. They've started doing the
I can hear it, yeah.
We're recording on a different day, and I was telling these guys, I hope they're not cutting the grass outside. There's not even like any grass out there. There's like a tiny patch, and they just always go for it. Anyway, okay.
They just know that you're recording, and they're just waiting for you to, record. Hit the button, and they just start the chainsaws or the lawnmower.
You've been streaming lots, Bex? You've been video gaming?
Playing some Ghost of Tsushima, trying to get through that. Getting ready for the big gamer dump of Dead Rising, Silent Hill 2, Casting of Frank Stone. There's a whole bunch of shit coming out, so I have to clean up my stories. Get my story games done before the Christmas era of games comes out, and we all have about fucking 50 different things to keep up on.
Yep.
And then Castlevania DLC coming out for DVD. How do we feel about the PTB? I didn't get to play it because I'm a smelly fucking console player.
I put out a video on it. It's fun. I don't think this is game changing. I don't think people for people who really care and want to try hard and play more competitively in Dead by Daylight, I feel like this is not going to be a character that people will play. I think this is going to be just a character people play for more enjoyment, or if there are Singularity mains and Night mains, people who just like the mechanics. Yeah, we'll get into this kind of stuff. That will be the type of player who plays this, or somebody who just wants to transform into a bat or a dog, and that's me. That's why I'll be playing it.
Very confirmed.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Speaking of, yeah, that Enzo is.
That's Enzo. Yeah, he's having a woof.
Do you think Dracula, he'll be more popular though than Vecna, or do you think he'll go the same way eventually? Just be I
think Castlevania as a franchise, most people that I've spoke to, just in everyday life, not the gamers we hang out with, but they think it's just like a show on Netflix, Yeah, they think it's just an anime on Netflix. I don't feel like Castlevania is not as big as Dungeons and Dragons. No, but also you play the game now, and at the higher MMR, you do not come across Vecna at all.
No, exactly.
It's so rare to come across a Vecna player. Maybe people in different servers, if we're playing in EU servers. If you're playing in another server, maybe you won't come across. You'll come across more Vecnas, but I think he will go the way of Vecna. Even more so.
Even more so, even sooner maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But Five Nights at Freddy's got announced for Dead by Daylight. That'll be coming in a year's time. That was weird that they announced
stuff.
They announced that right before their big drop of this new thing coming out. Maybe that shows how much confidence they have in Castlevania not being that popular. You know,
Or
Yeah.
to beat the leaks, because there's not a single DLC that's come out for the last like 2 or 3 years that hasn't been leaked.
a bit of
So
both.
probably
yeah.
to get ahead of it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are big into Five Nights at Freddy's, but it feels like its entire, like the fun of Five Nights at Freddy's is theorizing and looking into leaks and trying to discover stuff. So we now have that to look forward to for the next year in Dead by Daylight.
Next year, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be fun.
I can't wait for them. Oh no!
Do you think
Matt Pat's
DVD will
retired.
put little Easter eggs into the game for the next year to give the
Absolutely.
FNAF fans something to be picking at, though?
Absolutely not.
No, but they'll be looking for it in Dead by Daylight. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because if Behavior add anything like that to the game, it'll break something.
I think they should. I think they should do that. Actually, I think that'd be nice.
I think it'd be
Nice little
cool to have like a
ARG or
little
something.
audio thing in like a random map, and then it's like, oh, did you hear that? Here's a little YouTube video,
Maybe
and
they'll
everybody
do
goes
that
crazy
closer to
about
the
it.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, look! You look in a mirror and you just see Markiplier for a second. You're like, oh.
Oh, Item 57. Markiplier should be the survivor. I think that's just
People have
facts.
said that. People have said that they want Markiplier as in the same vein as like Nicolas Cage coming in, just actual Markiplier as a person.
Do it. Come on, Behavior, do it.
Please.
Yeah, whatever. At this point, just fucking throw everything in. I don't
They're
give a
doing
shit.
all
I
sorts
honestly
now,
just
so.
don't give a shit anymore. Like at
Yeah.
first, there was some characters I'm like, oh, are you doing that? Is that really in the vein of like the 80s slasher that you started with? And then I'm like, whatever. It's all fun. Like,
It's all fun.
who cares?
Yeah.
It's all good. I remember when they put the Trickster in.
Yeah.
Who is for those of you who don't know Dead by Day. So Dead by Daylight is an 80s slasher game where you play as either the killer or one of 4 survivors on a map, and you need to try and escape as a survivor or kill the survivors as the killer. And they put in a guy who is very obviously bait for K-pop fans, myself included. I love me some K-pop, and he was designed by like a K-pop producer, and his entire thing is just that he's a K-pop idol that's a serial killer. And it didn't really seem to fit with the vibe of Dead by Daylight. But even then, I was like, no, that's cool. Whatever. Just throw a little. Just give us more stuff. Just give us more stuff. That's all I want. Just got more stuff. More stuff to do. Yeah. Dead by Daylight talk.
Can't wait for the DVD Genshin Impact crossover skins.
Oh, man. DVD X Raid Shadow Legends. Come
People
on.
are annoyed that because FNAF is coming to DVD, they're like, oh, how that means FNAF isn't coming to Fortnite. But I'm like, no.
Yeah.
It could still happen.
I mean, like, isn't Ghostface in Fortnite? Like,
no.
Isn't
No, he's in COD.
He's in Call of Duty.
Michael Myers is.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Michael Myers, you know?
Yeah.
You can do it.
It could still happen down the line. I think they were just disappointed that we got the announcement that they were expecting, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been playing much Fortnite, Bex?
Who have I been playing Fortnite? To be right, you know what? It'll all be fixed by the time this episode comes out. I bought skins yesterday that were Jubilee, Cyclops, and Colossus from the X-Men that weren't supposed to come out last night. So I got exclusive skins before they got took off the store. They're meant to be released tonight for D23.
I gotta say,
but
I love Jubilee's whole attire. I need to see
Jubilee's awesome.
what she looks like in Fortnite. But yeah,
I
Jubilee's
see.
so
She
cool.
actually looks exactly like, I would say exactly like the cartoon.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's so good carried over.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
Have you seen, so you were watching all the Marvel stuff actually last time we spoke on here. How far through are you now?
The last thing I watched, let me get back onto my letterbox really quickly. I watched 2 animated movies because I'm including all animated movies and everything, just getting the whole way through. So I watched one called Next Avengers Heroes of Tomorrow, which was really, really bad. And then I watched a cartoon of Hulk versus Wolverine, which was really, really cool. And they had Nolan North doing Deadpool's voice. And I love Nolan North when he does Deadpool's voice for cartoons and games and stuff.
Was
pretty
he
decent.
the voice in the Deadpool game?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
He's pretty cool, Deadpool. But yeah, that's all I've really watched. I've not been watching an awful lot this week, so they were the last 2 I got. Iron Man 2's up next up, so that should be
Peak.
interesting.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2 is okay. Iron Man 3, not so much.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Iron Man 3, Shane Black, and it's one of those bad ones that I enjoyed. Like again, like Land of the Dead, I'm watching it like this isn't good, but I'm having fun with it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Shane Black's like sense of humor just gets me. Although I have not seen his Predator movie.
It's
The Predator. I've heard it's.
But
really
you think
bad.
Predators is good, so that means you think that is good as well, actually.
Maybe.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I do. I did really enjoy Predators. I think it's more the battle royale on an alien planet concept that I enjoy, and like a group. I love a good ragtag group of characters on like an alien planet or like a post-apocalyptic setting trying to survive.
Topher Grace is Hollywood's greatest cast villain. Proven facts by Spider-Man 3 and Predators. He's such a good villain.
Is he the guy who talks about doing horrible things to women all the time? He's like, yeah, can't wait to do this. Is that him?
In Predators?
In Predators. No, he's like the nice guy who turns
He's
out
the
to
nerdy
be the
guy.
bad
Yeah.
guy,
He's the
right.
twist. Sorry for spoiling it, everybody. He's the twist.
It's got Lawrence Fishburne in it. He's cool.
He's fucking awful in it. He's terrible.
He's got the French guy that I like.
What's
I know
his
what
name, Seb? What's his name?
I know what I'm. Is the guy from Godzilla? Is it the guy from Godzilla? No.
Nobody might be in Godzilla.
The French guy?
He's in. No, I know who he's thinking of, right? And he's in all of Wes Anderson's movies. I know who he's thinking of.
French guy?
Yeah.
Is he French though?
It's Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody. Okay. Is he French? Did I just say that?
No, he's an American.
Did he play a Frenchman in something? It feels like he might have.
He looks like, you can imagine him with a cigarette in his hand in like a French cafe, you know?
I
totally see it.
Okay.
Yeah, Adrian Brody's cool. He's in it, and it's good. Have you seen it, Beck? Have you seen it, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know that scene when like the Yakuza guy with his two fingers, he pulls out a fucking samurai sword, and then the Predator's like, okay, and he drops his weapons and he gets his blades out, and then they go at each other in the field. That's so cool.
Yeah. That's one of the.
It's the movie, and they made it, and that's what I have to say.
Funny enough, my pick for next week's episode or the week after, I was just saying.
Mahershala Ali is in it, and he's so wasted.
Is he?
Yes. Yes.
What?
He's very buff looking in it too. He's kind of big looking in it.
Walton Goggins.
He's wasted.
Oh, Walton Goggins is Walton Goggins in, as he always does, you know. He's the guy who's doing the horrible things. He's just a psycho in it, right? He's just complete. Predators. Oh, it's Predators. I can't spell, guys. Predators. Mahershala. Oh, there. Let's have a look. Images. God, he's swole in this.
See, he is a big boy.
Wow.
Shame, because he's fucking wasted.
I mean, he's been wasted by Disney right now, isn't he? Like, he's been trying to get this fucking Blade movie off the ground for 5 years.
Yep.
It's just not happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
Is it fine?
Yeah. You know what? By the time this episode comes out, my embargo's lifted. So we've seen Blade in cinema this week past.
We have.
So my embargo's lifted. I said Monday I'm talking, so it's be out by this time. We've seen Blade.
Yeah.
So I don't care.
We've seen the Blade. There's only going to be one Blade. There's always ever.
I've not seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Is there not a Blade in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or one of those shows?
Who watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
You are going to, aren't you? You said you're doing all
I'm not
Marvel.
going to. I'm skipping Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't watch that shit.
I'm doing all Marvel except I'm skipping Agents of
CW level
S.H.I.E.L.D.
shit doesn't count. I'm not watching like the stupid fucking shit.
Boo this man.
None of it connects at all. They literally retconned the whole thing. And then they do a whole bunch of weird shit where he dies and comes back as a clone, and it's just weird bullshit.
Is it happy in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Probably the fucking first episode, and he says, sayonara, good luck. Who knows? Unless a character comes from there over, which is not going to happen because it's not happened yet. I don't care about that show. I gave it a season and it stunk.
I see. You know,
They did a cool Ghost Rider though.
Ah,
I'll give them that.
Nicolas Cage.
No, not Nicolas Cage.
Oh.
That's a cool Ghost Rider too.
Apparently, Ryan Reynolds wanted him to be in.
They did
in Deadpool 3.
He wanted RDJ as well, big time, but they couldn't actually do it because nobody knew really about. Any of the writers or the director knew about RDJ's reveal as Doctor Doom.
So this is very of its time now, guys. If you are listening to this in the future, you probably know a lot more than us. But it's basically believed that this whole RDJ just got announced as playing Doctor Doom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Russo brothers are back for the next 2 Avengers movies, right? Apparently, because Sean Levy they wanted him to direct, and he turned them down. But that was only recently. Apparently, this whole thing has been put together in like 2 months, 3 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is rushed, and it stinks of desperation to me. Like, oh God, what do we do to fix our universe? Get the guy that everybody likes, RDJ. And then he's like, well, I'll only do it and I'll only work with the Russo brothers. Like, okay, get the Russo brothers in, because the Russo brothers had actually offered to do the next Avengers movies and given scripts to Disney, and Disney had turned them down. So, yeah. Doesn't.
You know what? I'll let it flow.
You let it flow? What are you going to say? Come on. What do you think?
It's not rushed because Jonathan Majors was fired in December, and it was announced that he was replaced in January. So they've been working on who's been replacing him for the last couple of months, and we are now in August. So they've had RDJ for a while.
I don't think so.
They changed the name of the movies. They basically told us months ago they're not doing Kang anymore because of his legal stuff.
But I don't feel like they knew who they were going to do. They knew they were going to fire Jonathan Majors
because they used up their other big bad in the Fantastic Four already with Galactus. So they don't have an Avengers level big bad.
Fantastic Four.
But they already had it planned out. That movie's shooting now and had been cast.
I don't
know. Why is Jonathan Majors fired?
Because he was abusing and getting abused by his at the time girlfriend.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
There had been a lot of back and forth.
Physically and mentally, footage. It's no good. Yeah.
So he was no go.
That's a shame because I really liked his performances in Lovecraft Country. And I liked him as Kang in Loki season 1, but then he was dog shit in Loki season 2 and in Ant-Man 3 or whatever it's called. And I liked his performance in Creed 3 as well. But yeah, just a piece of shit, it seems. Yeah, great. Fantastic. It's toxic relationships. No good. Yeah. Oh well, my theory is that they've rushed this Robert Downey Jr. thing, and I think if what you say, Bex, is true, that's like 6 months ago they figured this out, when they should have been building up to this for the past like 4 years since Endgame. You know, they've not built Doom up at all. You know, this all should have been built up for this. You know.
Okay. Yes.
You can disagree with me. That's okay.
I can because I'm literally saying, like, you don't need to build up Doom because Doomsday is going to be your build. You don't, and you'll have him in Fantastic Four, which comes out before Doomsday. So you'll get your build up from the Fantastic Four, and then Doomsday will give you your storyline.
Think about what happened with the Avengers, where you've got Thanos constantly being shown in like.
Okay, right. Wait. Counter question: would you rather another 4 years of multiverse movies? Where everybody has agreed that they're not landing on a multiverse. Would you rather another 4 years of multiverse movies before bringing Doom in? Or would you rather them clean it up and do Doomsday as their cleanup?
I would rather them clean it up and do it well, right? I'm not arguing that they should build up Doom now. I'm just saying it's a little late in the game to be suddenly announcing that, hey, you know how we've been building up Kang? Well, he's just not going to be there. Let's put Doom in his place instead. Which, Doom is cool. Doom is awesome in the comics, so fuck it. I'm fine with that. But that isn't my argument that, like, I'm just worried. Like, Disney have only shown that they can make dog shit for so long now. If you look at Star Wars, you look at Marvel, like it's no good. You look at like their Disney live action remakes, no good. So I don't have too much faith. But, you know, you give me the Russo brothers, who have also been doing pretty bad movies since Avengers, but, you know, maybe they work better in the Disney space. I'll be watching it. I'll be there. They've got my money, I guess, so that's worked. It's paid off for them getting RDJ
just
back.
Froze.
Russo brothers.
What?
You froze.
Oh, I froze.
Everything just I just froze.
Oh.
No, you guys were fine. I think mine just froze up. I don't know what the fuck just happened.
Dude,
But I'm
I think
back.
Discord's fucking up today, man. It's fucked. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we will be there for Avengers Doomsday. That's what, 2026. We
Yeah.
will be there no matter what.
Yeah.
But shall we then drop the old plugs and then
Yeah. Sorry, this we'll end there. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Catch us on. You can catch me on Twitch at the Spooky Memes. You can catch me on YouTube at the Spooky Memes. You can catch me on TikTok at the Spooky Memes. Where can people catch you guys?
Twitch for me, Steve Knievel, YouTube, Steve Knievel, and then soon to be, fingers crossed, TikTok, which, if it's not already taken, the name, Steve Knievel.
Yeah, go take it. Go take it before this episode comes out.
And Beckham?
Twitter, Twitch, Letterboxd, Banksfiend7.
Oh, I forgot my letterbox. Yeah, Steve Knievel on that as well.
Yeah, if you want to reach us, you can come to any of our chats, any of our social medias, or you can go to the We Know Kino Twitter.
Yes, chat with us there, please.
Yeah.
You'll find us on most platforms in some capacity, and we're live pretty often as well.
Yeah.
We're about. Yeah. Let us know what you thought. Give us feedback, suggestions.
All right, we good? We're done.
We're good. We're good.
Did we just do another podcast, boys? Did we do
did.
it?
Episode 10 in the books. Double
Episode
digits.
10, guys. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you guys all next week for Train Spotting.
Yes.
Don't miss it. It's gonna be dope.
Bye.
Peace.